Welcome into Tuesday night's evening blend. Here we are. I am Pop Blender, and with me, as always, is Matthew Matson, and he's got the goods. So let's go full screen, baby. Boom, hit me.
What's up?
What you
This
got there?
this guy, Agent Carter, is so cool with his banana prop and all that. I'm gonna swap out my Sean Connery head here in a minute to get my James Bond.
Love it.
Uh, this guy, this yokai assassin guy, the detail on this face mask is amazing.
Beautiful.
And then all of his weapons on his backpack, and then this guy, there's a lot of opportunities to use this guy with
Oh yeah.
his red suit and all this stuff. I got to get my skeletons out to do my GI Joe covers again, but lots of fun stuff.
Beautiful. Yes. You're always bringing the goods. I got some notifications on the despoiler. I got a couple
Oh
other
yeah, I heard
things
about
in
that.
the
Yeah,
in the
yeah.
works. Yeah.
So Hasbro didn't cancel it, like
They
Target
they
canceled everything.
they did not cancel mine. I got the shipping notice and everything, so should be good to go here soon.
Yeah,
Um,
well, that's what the circle was talking about tonight was the Target
ah,
cancellations.
oh yes, good old Target. Yeah, I get those messages. I'm sure some of you folks out there in the chat have gotten those messages. Right, all of a sudden you'll just get a random text that says your payment or whatever was canceled for no reason. And
Yeah,
then the times that has happened, I've called them. They said no, we don't show anything. One time it did happen, and
yeah.
they had to go back and actually physically go in and reinstate they had just for whatever reason. So yeah, I hate it. I hate those exclusives with like Walmart, Target, and whatever.
Yeah.
Um, but yeah, so far so good. What is up, folks? Welcome in. Show is already in progress. We have we got a big one. There's a big movie out right now, and it is blowing the doors off of the box office. Um, record sales, packed theaters. It's very interesting to see this phenomenon happen.
Phenomena.
Something like a phenomenon, like back to back with the Odyssey, and
Yep.
then with Spider-Man. So it's about a 2 week period in there somewhere, right? Something like that. And so yeah, so we're gonna talk about the movie. We're gonna discuss it a bit, and then later in a little bit, we are going to hit some spoiler territory. So for those that have not had a chance to go see it, that have not been able to make it to the theater, um, feel free. I get it. If you don't want to hear anything, I understand, but we will definitely let you know. Yes, and Woody, triple deuce.
That's it.
A packed movie is now a phenomenon, and I heard some
Yep.
interesting comments while I was in line at the concessions. I have a nice little story to tell
Yeah,
about
yeah.
that exciting adventure to go see the movie. But you saw it on Saturday, right?
Yep. So yeah, we're gonna try to keep it spoiler free for the first half, and then later on we'll kind of bust into some other details.
Yes.
Yeah, saw it on Saturday with the family.
Okay.
First thing in the
Um,
morning, and a month ago was the earliest time that we could. That was the only time we could get tickets for this weekend, and that was like a month ago or so that we bought them. And so we weren't even sitting in our normal row because that was all sold out already. So we had an 8:45 a.m. showing in the morning.
isn't that crazy? Isn't that insane? Like to
Yeah.
think about. I honestly have never thought about going to a movie as early as I did with Spider-Man and
Yeah.
even the Odyssey. Now, Spider-Man actually conversely was on the later side, and for a
Mhm.
lot of us at whatever age you might be, going to see a 10 o'clock movie that's 2 hours and 25 minutes long is a risky proposition. If you're
Especially when that
prone,
long and boring.
well, yes. Ugh. Um,
Yeah.
but the Odyssey, conversely, was in the morning for me.
Okay.
Spider Man was at 10 o'clock. And, when you get older, staying awake. And my son made a funny comment to me when we left. He was like, I thought there were a couple of times you fell asleep. And I'm like, no, I didn't fall asleep. I'm not that bad. I'll fall asleep at like 1 in the morning on the patio, 2 in the morning sitting out back. But anyway, so yeah, we're gonna get into it, but we are gonna discuss some spoiler territory in a little bit. Definitely let you guys know because it's difficult, Matthew. We talked about this backstage to talk about some of the things with this movie that we want to talk about without discussing some of the things in the movie, right?
Right.
And so we'll try to dance around that early on, and then we'll get into it because I have a feeling it's going to take a little while.
Yeah.
It's a lot. There's a lot to pack to dig in
Yep.
with this movie. Shane, same time toys. What's going on, Shane? Says I'm going to check the replay as soon as I see it. Hopefully Friday. Fingers crossed. Yeah, a lot of people having a tough time getting tickets. I got a message from War Chest. He's in Florida, and he said he checked the Missouri where he lives. The show times, every theater is sold out
Hmm.
on a Tuesday, a Wednesday,
Yep.
a Thursday.
Yep.
Like the Monday numbers were crazy, and we'll get into that
Monday
here in a minute.
numbers.
Eric Thurman is here, cooking with Eric 101. What's up, brother? Good song, by the way. Uh, Lady Virgo, hello there, lady. How you doing, girl? Good to see you. Woody Triple Deuce, what's up? Till he falls asleep. Always appreciate it, buddy. Glad you're hanging out for a little bit. HK Viper is in the house also, and so far so good. I think my StreamYard's running, but I've seen some StreamYard issues in the last few days. So you guys just feel free to let me know if anything's going on, anything's weird. Okay, so there are a couple stories we can touch upon quickly before we really want to get into this. And one of them I wanted to discuss with you. As soon as I can get this off my screen, because I hate. Okay, here we go. You guys know there's a God of War show
Ah,
in
yes.
in the tank for Amazon, right?
Yep.
And unfortunately, one of the Nolan, how you doing, man? So the star that is playing Kratos got injured, tore a bicep. Okay. Um, Evidently, they have decided to recast the actor. There's this big call for Dave Batista. Uh, I'm not sure Dave Batista wants to work out like that anymore, personally.
60-year-old man, almost 60 years old.
Putting on that kind of muscle to
Yeah.
do a role like that. It's part of the reason I think they covered him up as
Well,
Drax.
yeah, it's exactly why he even said that,
Right.
that he didn't want to bulk up to play Drax again. So that's why they covered him up.
So so that's kind of the fan casting. He might be in talks to do it. I don't know. I would not cast a 60-year-old man to play
Yeah.
God of War.
Well, and
But
and I think somebody else made a great point of it too. It's like uh, you don't want the actor to outshine the role, so you should probably cast somebody
I
who's
like
not
that. Yes.
not as well known, or is it going to be buzz talk about it rather than it's Kratos, it's the God of War. We want to see the God of War.
I do like that, and I agree, and I think it would be a better idea to cast an unknown. Now, look, there was a picture initially. This was the first photo released. A lot of people did not like this. 13th
Hmm.
Assassin, how the heck are you? Yeah, I'm with you there, by the way. So this image was not well liked. All right, and I could see why. It doesn't even look real, in my opinion. It does
Right.
look AI
Yeah.
generated.
Yeah.
So that was kind of the image that we got initially for this. Now, um, initially they had Ryan Hurst from Sons of Anarchy. Okay, he was the one that was cast to play Kratos. And then they had a young man that's 12 years old cast as Callum Vincent. Well, now, because they're recasting Kratos, they are now going to recast the kids. There's other kids in this
Now,
movie, not just
I
Atreus.
now this a TV series or a movie? A
It's Amazon TV
TV
series.
series. So didn't they
Yes.
already have the first season done or mostly done or
No, I don't know that they've shot some stuff, right? They have shot
okay,
some
okay.
stuff. Clint,
So
how
now
the
they're
heck
just gonna
are you,
scrap
buddy?
it and recast the whole thing. That seems like a horrible waste of money, but
Okay,
okay.
so instead of waiting for Ryan Hurst to recover, they've decided, okay, we've got to push this thing out, right? Like a baby. So
Well, so to be fair, the surgical procedure that he's going to have, the recovery time, and then the time to bulk back up to play the part, we're talking like 3 years.
okay,
Okay, so
that's
so
what I
so
wanted to ask you
so
about.
yeah, yeah. So I mean, you're talking about 3 to 6 months of physical therapy, and then at least another year of rebuilding it piece by piece. And then you're going to have this massive scar. The bicep isn't going to look right anymore because you had to reattach it to a different anatomical position.
Right.
So if you're looking at the guy's arms, it's going to look kind of funny. So I can understand why they would want to recast for a multitude of reasons
And
because the time frame of his time out, the things that he won't be able to do, is going to be a long time.
and I think, look, when you take a step back and you look at it, I'm sure they had discussions, talked to doctors, whatever.
Right.
And a 3 star, how the heck are you? And Cypher 6'3", what's up? Yeah, they probably said, look, man, it's gonna look odd. If you've ever seen an athlete, a player for the Steelers tore a bicep, put him out for the whole season. I've seen pictures of what it looks like. You are correct. It does look weird,
Yep.
and it's also really difficult. It's a really tough injury, and so I get it, right? But now the kids, now the problem with kid actors, and you know this, we've talked about this, is they grow old quickly
Very quickly. Yep.
and they change very quickly. So if you look at that initial picture that we just looked at, and you look at what they have at the age of this young man, this whenever this image was taken, this dude has already changed,
Yeah, yeah. I was gonna say
and
you're 3 months later, that kid's changed.
hundred
You're six
percent,
months later, that kid's a different kid.
and will only get even more so. It could because obviously these shows take forever to film. It takes 2 to 3 years to get a season two. So they're recasting basically the main cast as it looks. Not only the lead actor for Kratos, but the young man that was cast as Atreus. Um, and really, to be honest with you, man, in today's climate, in today's Hollywood, I don't know that I even want them to do this. They're going to do it. They're bound
Yeah.
to determine to do it. Looking at what happened with Halo,
Yep.
looking at what happened with other adaptations, especially when you look at like
Well, you like
Amazon's track
Fallout.
record. I like Fallout, but I know Fallout has a lot of issues. It's probably the one property that I would probably try to be on board with.
Hmm.
But again, unfortunately, and as 3 Star says it,
Hmm.
I'm also not interested in this version. I like the new games, but I want the Kratos from the prior games.
Yep.
That's the one I want. That's the God of War. I don't want a broken man who cries. Spider Man. Anyway, and I don't want, and so I don't want this version. I'm curious to see what it's going to look like. But however, they are casting for Thor's daughter, who they had already cast. They are now recasting that role. And so you're talking about trying to shoot this as quickly as possible, and it probably coming out in 2027 and
Yeah.
then 2029 or 2030 by the time you get season two. So I just don't know. I don't really want this. They're going to do it. But
Yeah.
it is a shame, and I do hate it for the actors because it is an opportunity. It is a paycheck. It is
Right.
a bona fide, show to be in, and especially for the younger actor, because that could possibly be a role that gets him into other things.
Yeah.
And now that opportunity is gone in a
Yep.
way. Not forever, maybe, but
Right.
to an extent, it is gone at least with this. Justin Booth is in the house. What's up, man? War Chest for live and in charge from Florida. Can't find a ticket for Spider Man anywhere in his hometown in Missouri. 13th Assassin, that would be monumental, and I hope they do it. I absolutely hope that they do make that casting decision because that would be good for us, Matthew.
It'd be great. It'd be great.
That would be good for us. Give us something to talk about.
Yeah.
Um, so God of War recasting. One little bit of news we did see after Disney guaranteed that Wonder Man was coming back for season two to
Now,
continue.
the timing of the drop was also very interesting.
They decided it will not be returning for season two.
They decided to drop that news when everybody's talking about how Spider-Man Brand New Day broke all the pre-sales records and the preview records on preview night.
Right? And also beat Superman and Supergirl what in the first day I think maybe of sales.
Well, pre-sales beat Supergirl's domestic run. So that preview night, that the
Yeah,
preview night beat Supergirl's entire domestic run. By the end of the first actual day, it had beaten Supergirl's entire run. By the end of the weekend, it had beaten the entire James Gunn universe's box office in
yeah,
totality
yeah. It's
in 3 days.
and some people, from what I hear, loved Superman. Some people, from what I understand. um, but yeah, that is incredible. I will say this about Wonder Man. Um, I thought it was fine.
Yeah,
It was not a superhero show. It was not a
not
Wonder
really,
Man show. It was a show
not
about
really.
an actor who is struggling to get a role. And he is actually up for an award too. And I think actually, instead of him being up for the award, uh, it should be Ben Kingsley that's up for the award instead. I thought he was far superior in the show. But
Well,
for
now
those that, what's that?
I said now the actor's calling for a Wonder Man movie. He's like, let's go make a Wonder Man movie.
Yeah, well, so here's the deal. Is it Mateen? I want to make sure I get this. Okay, Yahya Abdul Mateen the second. He was the one that played Wonder Man. He actually had a response to the
Yeah, I liked
cancellation,
it. It
and
was
he
good.
just said, "Hey, it was fun. It was really awesome to be a part of it. We really appreciate the fans that came out to support it." And that was about it. He didn't whine. He didn't cry. He didn't want to do a
Yep.
petition. He didn't call for Disney to be boycotted or whatever.
Right.
He just said, "Hey, it was really fun to be a part of it, and I'll definitely cherish that. Whatever, whatever." So that was cool. But yeah, Wonder Man not coming back, and they were pretty emphatic about wanting to bring it back. I think they
Yep.
thought that it went over well. They did,
Critics received it well.
yeah,
So that was nice, but nobody watched it. So I
there
believe
you
that
go.
after this amount of time, they've seen the numbers of viewers who have watched it, even though it got all this praise, and then they decided maybe we don't spend our money on this.
Nah, yeah, it's it. I mean, look, I don't know what show they put on that gets eyeballs. I don't know what they do.
Bluey,
Well, right. Other than something like that, right? But as far as a new Marvel show or a new Star Wars show, does that add subscribers? I don't see that.
right?
They'll tell you it's the number one show in the the nation,
It's a number
but
one show streaming at this hour, at this time, on this day, on this platform.
yeah, you can pretty much just kind of make that shit up. Just make it up. It doesn't matter.
It's like statistics, baby.
So let's kind of get into the numbers because this is going to lead us
Yeah.
into what we really need to get into. Um, Obviously, Spider-Man: Brand New Day is
Oh.
number one after 4 days.
And I
Um,
want to say to all you doubters out there that doubted my 500 to 800 million dollar projection, everybody's like,
yeah,
ah, it won't make that much money. Well, I made more than that, so
dude,
I was wrong.
internationally, yeah, right, by a couple
So
bucks. No,
yeah, well, no, yeah,
I
but
mean,
that international box office is really impressive to me, and
holy cow.
that tells me what we've been saying for a long time. Spider-Man has been the largest superhero, most popular superhero in the entire world for quite a while.
Hands down. It is not arguable.
Nope.
It is emphatically true.
Yep.
And these numbers tell you. Now, um, it is fascinating to go to a packed theater. It is
Yeah. It's different. It's
absolutely,
totally different experience when you have all those people coming to watch the movie with you. My 8:45 in the morning showing was jam packed, and I would
incredible.
say two-thirds of the audience stayed till the very end of the end credits to watch the end scene.
Yep, nope, same way. Very few people got up. A lot
Yeah.
of people stayed till the end to catch that very last little stinger, which is interesting. Speculation, whatever. We can talk about it later. But worldwide, obviously, $1 billion in 4 days is incredibly impressive.
Yep.
Incredibly impressive. And so but you're right. The international box office total is fantastic. Domestically, 407. And yeah, this has absolutely just destroyed. I mean, 38% of the domestic share on a $225 million budget. Um, I mean, it is just. I mean, and it's not stopping. Again, talked about the fact that War Chest can't find a theater. For those of you that haven't been
Yep.
able to see it, you're probably going to have trouble. You're not going to be able to show up to the theater.
Yeah.
You
No.
better pre-buy. You better pick your seat if you can. Now, I'll tell you what's amazing about that too. What's up, Chad? How you doing, man? He's in there. There he goes. I think you hit that one up.
Yeah. Yep.
What is amazing about this is that I bought our tickets for a Sunday night 10 o'clock showing on Saturday night. I bought
Mm.
them Saturday night, probably around 10 or 11 o'clock, and the entire theater was pretty much wide open.
Oh wow.
When we showed up, however, and I went to check that seating chart,
Yeah.
no, sir, it was
Yeah.
done. And but it was amazing to me that I was able to find that showtime, 10 o'clock on a Sunday, which is quite unusual to go see a movie at 10 on a Sunday, especially the
Yeah.
general audience, and find a wide open theater. But yeah, that closed extremely quickly. But we got our back middle seats, which we like. No one was on either side of us. That's always
Okay.
awesome.
Yeah.
But for the most part, yeah, it was absolutely jammed up. Um, so the Odyssey still going strong. 18 days, in release. It is getting it at 922 million. It will see a
I
billion
I
dollars.
I still say that the only reason this movie is succeeding is through cognitive dissonance.
Dude, you know what? And I got to tell you, I agree. I also think that these numbers are a mirage
Yeah.
because it got the IMAX theaters.
It got the
Now,
IMAX bump.
and Spider-Man is going to IMAX, I think, on Thursday, if I'm not mistaken. And so they're going to get another bump from that,
Now,
right? People
was
are going to go back to
any of
see it again.
Spider-Man actually shot in IMAX?
That I don't know. I actually haven't
Okay.
looked it up. I haven't read it. If you know, yeah, I'll be honest with you. I don't know because I haven't looked. If anybody in the chat knows, let me know. But the Odyssey, it doesn't show any signs of really slowing down. If you actually
No, no,
look, you
no.
know,
It's gonna do well. I mean, it's already done well, but it
30,
will.
34% drop over the week. That's fantastic.
What is its total right now? It's Oh yeah.
922.
Yeah, so we're way past profitability because you're looking at what 750, 800 million was profitable for them. So
Yeah, absolutely. And yeah, Chad, dude, it's hard to watch that guy. It's hard to watch that
well,
guy
you know
on
what?
screen.
It was funny to me, funny, haha, that he was not invited to be a part of the press tour. He was nowhere to be seen because John Bernthal and Tom Holland have such a good relationship since John Bernthal shot his demo tape that he sent in to audition for Spider-Man. And he said, "Hey, you can do a backflip, so we need to start the video with a backflip." And so he started with the backflip and then did the
Yeah.
whole thing. And John Bernthal shot that video for Tom to send in to Disney to play Spider-Man. So they've had a long relationship. So they have great chemistry together. And then, Tom Holland's wife is there with him on tour, on the press tour also. So having Zendaya there,
Yep.
where she shows more emotion in all of her interviews than she does on screen most of the time.
Well, and you saw, I mean, you could see this going back. There's the
Yeah.
audition tape, but in 2015, but you could see the chemistry with them. Now, look, well, we'll get to it. All right. But yes, that the chemistry's there. They did do great in the press junkets and the whole
Yeah.
tour for it and everything. And you can tell that they know each other well. Super cool. I appreciate
Here
that.
now.
But yeah, Mark Ruffalo can kick rocks as far as I'm concerned. I'm really used to
Honestly,
that guy.
well, we'll get there eventually, but honestly, after what they did in this movie, they don't need Mark Ruffalo anymore. They can just use Hulk.
They actually really
CGI.
don't. And honestly, he's also he in this film. Yes, I think most people know that. However, thankfully, Ruffalo as Bruce Banner is not in this film very much at all.
Yep. Yeah,
Just
yeah.
a tiny bit. Yeah, 13th Assassin, the Odyssey, right? I mean, that story was going around. Look, I did not see anybody that like went into a theater and took pictures just to show that it was empty or whatever. They may be floating out there, but obviously we heard about that. You know, we talked a little bit about it a couple weeks ago. Um,
I don't know. I think that they only bought out theaters for the first weekend, and that creates FOMO, so they don't have a
yeah,
significant drop the second weekend. And then there's this momentum that builds up, and then there's cognitive dissonance that kicks in, and that's why you get this perpetual thing because, I mean, you could say the last hour of the movie's pretty good, but the 2 hours up to that is not.
yeah, the Odyssey was it was a tough watch in my opinion. It was.
Yeah.
And Justin Booth says Spider-Man did in 4 days what the Odyssey couldn't do. After 2 weeks in theaters, proof that if you go woke, you go broke.
Well,
Uh,
and then you have Spider-Man that in 3 days did more than the entire DC James Gunn universe. So
yeah, uh, impressive, and yet at the same time, not impressive of because of just how bad James Gunn's DC universe is.
and I'm telling you, if we had more just fun, decent movies, we would see more of this. You look at Obsession and Backrooms and what they did for independent film and how successful that they've been, and how profitable that they've been. That's awesome.
Yeah,
That's awesome for theaters. That's awesome for moviegoers. But to have another cultural phenomena happen like this, that everybody is going to see Spider-Man, everybody's enjoying Spider-Man. So, this movie has got legs and it's got longevity. The Odyssey is a flash in the pan. Once it's gone, nobody will talk about it again. Nobody wants to watch that
yeah,
movie again. Everybody
like
who's
an
watched that movie
Avatar.
one time, they're like, I really don't want to ever watch this movie again. It's one of those slogs that you're like, okay, it was good, I liked it, and then you never watch it again because it really wasn't that good. It's just
I
you told yourself it was.
I have no desire to watch the Odyssey again. I really
Yeah.
don't. There's not a scene in it that captivated me enough to go back and even watch that scene.
Right. Yeah.
What scenes that were fantastical, which wasn't a lot of them. Crow's here. Krusty Old Crow, how
What's
you
up,
doing,
bro?
man? Listen in. Haven't seen this movie and enjoyed it enough.
Yeah, I
Yeah,
know this.
yeah,
We're, we're gonna get there in just a minute.
yep. Not long because it's
Now,
gonna.
and we're gonna start with spoiler free stuff.
Yes. So quickly moving down the Odyssey, and then Toy Story 5, doing very well. 46 days of release, crosses $1 billion. So, a success. Minions and Monsters. You took the family to see Minions and Monsters, and it's under $500 million. Probably, I mean, do you think that's the take that they expected? Do you think they expect a little more with a movie like that? That's
No,
just kind of
I mean,
retreading, rehashing.
yeah, I mean, it's the what sixth movie in the series of Despicable Me Minions type of movies.
Yeah,
I don't
it's
remember how many of them
enough.
there are, five or six, right?
It's enough.
So it's diminishing returns. It was okay. I think I fell asleep a little bit in it, but so it's the kids love it, and people are going to wait for it to come out on home video or whatever so the
Certainly.
kids can watch it at home and they don't have to sit there and be with them watching it, right? I mean,
Yes, you can turn it on and let it be a babysitter for an hour and 45 minutes or whatever it is.
whatever. Yeah.
Yeah, no, I get it. I mean, now Moana, however, conversely, after 25 days at 262 million total
I
with a
I'm kind of
250
surprised.
million
Yeah.
dollar production budget. Good God.
I'm kind of surprised that it did that well because
I am
it
too.
just didn't look good at all. The Rock wearing a wig and a bodysuit. It's just weird.
And it just fucking looks. I'm sorry, man. People are over these live action remakes. I
Yeah.
really think so. And
Well, it
Disney
has to be
is
worthwhile. Right? This is a recent movie. This isn't a
yeah,
movie that you remake, and they just had a
right.
sequel last year. So I think people might be Moana out.
Yes. Yeah, probably so. And again, by the look of it, The Rock not convincing, in that
Yeah.
role. And animation carries so much, it does so much of the heavy lifting in movies like that with
Yeah.
the expressions of animal characters, with the expression even of the human characters and what they can do. And there's no way The Rock could carry that performance in live action
Yeah.
the way that he does in the
You just
animated films.
can't.
There's no
And
way.
and and,
It's
and
impossible.
especially I mean, how much he's changed in the time frame from when he initially voiced that character to now. It's pretty significant because he's lost a lot of weight. He's changed his whole thing. So
Mother Slug,
two
what is going
weeks,
on?
2 weeks.
2 weeks. um,
Uh, Eric, and the Jumanji trailer, it looked really super weird to me. I mean, I have liked the first two. I thought they were fun,
okay.
but there's just something about this one that I'm like, "Ugh, I don't know.
So, so,
I thought it was funny to bring the video game characters into our world, and that thing was kind of funny, but I don't know. I want to see maybe a little bit more to wait and see if this is a theater or if this is a wait till it streams thing.
while standing in line for the concessions, my son, I told him just go ahead, and I'll tell you what happened when we went to the movie. But anyway, for Spider Man, and he texted me back. He's like, another a trailer for Jumanji 3, and you could just hear
Yeah,
the
yeah.
like, so okay. Anyway, all right, let's get through this. Hadestown, the musical, look, or Hadestown. Look, I couldn't tell you. I ain't gonna lie,
Yeah.
couldn't tell you. Obsession, Evil Dead Burn, Young Washington, which has gotten pretty good reviews. Disclosure Day, Supergirl, and somehow Star Wars: The Mandalorian and Grogu is
Just
still just
hanging
kind of
on.
hanging around.
So, that disclosure day, everybody that I talked to said, yeah, it was a something. It was a thing. It's like that movie was pointless. It was uh, it was a sad look at Spielberg today because he's so far away from where he was when he was a genius making films.
Yeah, yeah. Look, I watched it here, and I sped through quite a bit of it, to be honest
Yeah,
with you, because it just was not nothing grabbed me about that movie. It was very, very, really boring, to be honest with
yeah,
you, and wish it
uh,
had started at the end, and then we
right,
started from there. That
yeah.
was my ultimate take. And Mother Slug says same with the Marvel Universe. Honest, how often do you hear someone talk about Iron Man? I never hear a peep about anyone. Marvel movies just aren't memorable. Just saying, yeah,
People talk about Iron Man 1 a lot, actually.
I will say this. I do hear people discuss the first like couple few phases, and even up to Civil War. I'm not saying it's common conversation now
Yeah.
because it's been years since those movies were
Well,
obviously
I,
out current.
when they talk about the comparisons, they talk about the MCU Phase 1 and how MCU Phase 1 was about as perfect as you could make it. I mean, every one of those movies that came out in Phase 1 was was good to great.
Yeah.
And I love all of them for their flaws. And people said when Thor came out that it wasn't that good, but you're looking back on it, you're like, it's actually pretty good. Um,
Oh,
you know,
relative to like,
well, not even just relative when it stands the test of time, right? And
oh, sure.
that's where we have this ferocity about when things first get released, and we think that that's the end all be all opinion of it, but really it is the test of time because the Highlander, the Princess Bride, there's so many movies we can go back and look at that were box office failures that are classics now that we can't imagine our lives without having seen them
Well,
because
I think
they did bad at the box office, they got bad reviews, people poo-pooed it, but then once it was on home video or whatever, people loved it.
I think with I think with something like Iron Man 1, whenever I have discussions, at work about prior Marvel movies and that really golden period they had there, it does come up. And often, honestly, what I do hear about the most is relative to what's come out in the last 6 years.
Yeah.
The conversation inevitably turns that way. Now, yes, those movies stand on their own, and it doesn't have to be like, oh, this is the reason why it's good, is because it's better than whatever's come out. But
Right.
inevitably, the conversation tends to steer into that direction. That's kind of where it ends up going to. A lot of people, a lot of 20-year-old, 25-year-olds and stuff, that were kids when they were watching like Iron Man or Captain America, whatever, um, they'll go back and watch those movies. But I've heard so often from them how much they dislike, Shang-Chi, how much they dislike Black Widow, how much they dislike, pretty much most
Well,
of what's come out in the last 6 years.
I hear a lot of normies saying that they liked Shang-Chi, that they thought it was a
It's
fun
interesting,
movie or whatever. They can't tell you anything that happened in the movie, but
right?
that's how they remember it.
Yeah. Um, it's just it's interesting, I guess, for me because that conversation ends up steering around, and you find out what people really feel about the bulk of what
Yeah.
Marvel has done. Now, um, getting into Spider-Man, which
All
I
right.
say we probably need to get it on.
Yep. Let's
Uh,
get it going.
and quickly, Justin Boos's first two Blade films are more memorable than the majority of MCU films. Um,
The first Blade film was great. Second one was pretty darn good. The third one,
it's only good because of Jessica Biel. Let's not kid ourselves, right?
hey, you know what? It was a fun Ryan Reynolds Wesley Snipes
Yeah, it's
interaction,
goofy.
right? I mean,
Just goofy.
it's goofy. I mean,
It
he's
didn't
getting
bother
ready to
me that
be,
much.
he's getting ready to be Deadpool, right? I mean,
Yeah,
he's honing up to play Deadpool and then fail at the first attempt, and then the second attempt, obviously, very memorable.
yeah. It really did not bother me as much as I think a lot of people talk about it. It really didn't.
Yeah.
Okay. All right, I'm gonna go ahead and tell you. Bought the ticket Saturday. Went Sunday night. I'll throw this little story out there real quickly. We got to the theater, scanned my phone. We walk in, full concession line, wrapped around the thing. Right, it's like 4 lanes basically, and
Everybody's
they had.
buying the Hogwarts sorting hat popcorn
Oh, I
buckets
know.
and
They actually didn't have it up there. That was a
oh,
bummer. Yeah, they didn't have hardly any good ones. But
yeah.
concession line is moving briskly. There's 5 registers. Okay, there's about six or seven people, 6 people back there. 5 registers moving briskly. You can order food on your phone and go pick it up at a little lane that's off to the side. However, I noticed that a bunch of orders were just piling up over there and they weren't ready. Okay,
Mm,
so we stand in line. We get there at about 10 till 10. The movie starts at 10, but actually starts at about 10:35.
right.
So we got plenty of time. All right. So we're in the line. It's moving, and then all of a sudden, 3 of the people disappear, and there's 2 people back there running a register. 2 people,
Oh
and
no.
so it's crawling. It's crawling. It's crawling. So I send my son to go grab the seats. I say, "Hey, look, I know what happens in this film. I've already
Yeah.
watched a 5 hour, referendum on it by some BFAP and Mahler and those guys. So I know what happens in this film. You don't know. You go to the seats. You go check it out. I don't want you to miss it." So he goes and gets the seats. I'm waiting in line, and it comes to a standstill. And it's like
Mm,
10:15. It's 10:20. It's
mm,
10:25. And there's a family of 8 at one of the registers. Matthew, it took them, I timed it, 20 minutes from the time they ordered to the time they walked away from the register. 20 minutes it took for them. So so they held up one of 2 registers this entire time. Then you have all these people waiting for their orders they placed on their phone
yep.
that aren't getting served. So finally, out of nowhere, 2 other guys show up and they start helping out. And so now there's 3 registers. This one poor kid, I think he's probably 17. His buddies came up for the theater, kept checking on him one by one, and he looked like he was about to cry because the movie had already started. So
Yeah.
I knew it's 10:35, and
Yeah.
I've been in line in the concessions for
Yeah.
45 minutes.
Oh, she's hell no. Hell
Oh
no.
yeah, it was rough. 45 minutes in the concession line. So
Mm-mm.
I finally get through. I get into the movie and sit down, and it's about 10 minutes in, roughly. I'm going to give you my general thoughts overall, and this may or may not make people happy or mad. I don't know. Um, I was disappointed. I was disappointed. Maybe my expectation level was very high considering how many people were showing up. It was interesting in line hearing a young person say how cool it was that there's people back at theaters again. So it was neat. The
Yeah.
shared experience was neat. It's bustling, right? And
Yeah.
my expectation level is up here. And after getting through the film, I was a bit disappointed. It did not live up to that expectation, which is always a warning for anyone. I felt like Dialogue was um, not as good as the previous film. I don't know if it's direction, it's the director, a new director. Um, I thought certain dialogue was good in certain scenes with his friends. I thought dialogue outside of that was not very good. Um, I felt as if some of the emotional beats, we didn't get to experience what they should mean because they kind of just move along, even in a 2 hour and 25-minute film. Um, I felt like a little bit of the CGI was a little wonky,
Mm.
personally. Some of the flying or web scenes right through the city, and some of the fight scenes. Um, I will say this: what I did like, I thought the cinematography was really good. I thought this looked like a movie, not a green screen recreation. I thought the lighting was very good. I thought it was shot well. Um, however, um, the soundtrack, the music did not really do it for me.
Mm.
Couple moments. Um, it's a fun movie with a weak villain. And I think it's a flawed film that, unfortunately for me, did not live up to the prior movie that concluded the first trilogy. I would have preferred some different starting points with this movie, and we will get into those when we get into spoiler talk. Um, but I want to know kind of your general thoughts about it after leaving the theater. What did you think about the film?
I really liked it. I had a good time with the movie. I've got a lot of nitpicks to it, but I don't think that detracts from how good the movie actually is. I'll say the opposite of almost everything that you said. The web slinging scenes were some of the best ever put on film.
Okay.
They are literally the best ones that have ever been in a Spider-Man movie. You can look in those details and you can see how much practical stuff was actually done with them, and how they mimic the web slinging that is from the video game. Anybody who's played that video game will tell you that felt like the video game going through there. Um, and you look at the character interactions, the dialogue and writing in the scenes between John Bernthal, Tom Holland, and Zendaya. Really great stuff there. There's a lot of meat in there. It is a Gen Z relationship story with Ned in there too, and so a lot of
Yeah.
people are connecting with that part of it. I thought it hit a lot of emotional beats that people really appreciate it. It's a it's a good film, right? And I'm going to rate it an 8.5 out of
Okay.
10 if I'm going to give it a rating there. I enjoyed it. It is in the top five of Spider-Man films for me. I
Okay.
did not think it was as good as No Way Home or Spider-Man 2, the Tobey Maguire Spider-Man 2. Um, but this is the first time that we see Tom Holland playing Spider-Man. Um, and yes, you can nitpick, and there's some things in there, but still, he is the loner. He is alone, and we can argue this several different ways, but he really is alone. And at the end of the movie, it's changed a little bit. I think that the weakest part of the movie is the faux villain. I thought that the real villain could have been played better, but the faux villain, unfortunately, is one of the most reprehensible people in the MCU, right next to Scarlet Witch, and for the DC universe, Wonder Woman 1984. They are the most reprehensible, morally decrepit people, and we're supposed to forgive them. And I don't know how we get past that kind of stuff when people who don't understand what morality is are trying to write stories about good and bad people.
Yeah.
But I
Well,
mean that's ultimately surrounding what some of my issues are. Um, I love John Bernthal as the Punisher, but He was the Punisher in Daredevil season 2 from Netflix, and he was the Punisher in season 1 of the Punisher TV show. And he has not been the Punisher since, because the way that they have written him since then has been not the Punisher. It's been something else entirely. And then when Disney started writing him, it got way worse. And for
We
me,
can, yeah, we can get into that here in a
yeah,
little while
we,
about
we
him
we can get
taking
into
over.
some of that without spoiling stuff for right now,
Yeah.
because uh, I like the character and I love his interactions with Tom Holland, and I thought they had great chemistry, and I thought
Yeah.
those scenes were really good in this movie. But PG-13 Punisher is not Punisher, and that's ultimately what it comes down to. And there's a couple other things that we may go into a little bit later, but overall, go see the movie. It's good. It's entertaining. It's something you want to take the family to.
Yeah. Oh,
It's
sure.
it's something to have a good weekend with, and you can say, all right, that's awesome. And you know, I don't want our criticisms and our uh, spoiler intensive criticisms to change things for people, because it is a fun movie to go see, but it has flaws, and it is a systemic flaw that has been going through movie making for the past 15 years.
So I will say this. Look, I like the movie fine. Okay. Again, I was disappointed because I think my expectation level was too high considering the last film. Now,
Yeah, well, you also watched a 6-hour breakdown of the film before you went to go see it. So,
uh, I mean, yeah, but I've done that with plenty of stuff that I liked. I mean,
well, they
I have no problem with
it
that.
changes the way you go into a movie, when you
Uh,
listen to all the criticisms before you go see it.
I don't know. I mean,
Oh, it
I think,
absolutely does, because you're going to see the things that they're criticizing in the movie, and you can judge for yourself whether you agree or not. Now that's something that's
well,
there. But
here's the
if
thing.
you go in without that knowledge, you probably wouldn't even notice some of that stuff.
I disagree actually because number one, it's a 5 hour long discussion. You don't remember every single thing, and also on top of that, a lot of it is just scene description. It's not
Yeah.
necessarily that like it's everything is criticism. It might be just scene description. And a little bit of discussion. So if you go scene by scene, it's going to take you 5 hours. So it's not like you're breaking down every single person, because actually a lot of the people actually enjoyed it. So, but no, that for me didn't change anything because honestly, a lot of my criticisms are not the same criticisms I have with a lot of films. They're different. They're not
Yeah.
the same ones that I would have that we usually have with current filmmaking. 610 Yojo Daddy, what's going on? Lick that like button. Spoilers in a bit. It's difficult to discuss this movie without getting into some of that.
Yeah.
But so I totally understand. Um, going for a replay, my friend. Giraffe is here. Never forget. Todd C, what's up, buddy? Let's see here. Da-da-da-da-da. William Lustig needs to direct The Punisher. Okay, I gotta look that up, my friend. And really quickly, Mark Ruffalo says, Giraffe says Mark Ruffalo prevents me from seeing it, and I get it.
Well, like,
And
I
trust
mean,
me,
he
I
was.
understand that.
Yeah. I mean,
He's not in it a lot. He's not in it a lot.
there's not in a lot, but there was one sly line that he snuck in there that I thought
Mm,
was like, "Meh, you dipshit." But for the most part, he was fine in the movie, and it's forgettable.
yeah,
Uh,
I think
because you only want to see Savage Hulk, and there you
I,
go.
I would give it. I would give it probably a 7 out of 10. Honestly, for me, uh, even after discussing it with my son, we both kind of had some of the same issues with the
Yeah.
film. Is it fun? Yeah, it's fun. Are there emotional moments? Yeah, absolutely. There's really good scenes with him and MJ and Ned in it. Um, but there's a lot of stuff I would have liked to have seen instead. And I think that
Hmm.
we don't get explanation for some of the things in the
Yeah.
film we should get explanation for.
Right.
And I think there's a lot in it that is like, okay, okay, this is interesting. Where did this come from? How did that happen? How did you build this? Like, what is this? And I'm not saying you have to have that for everything, but I think it would help, especially since you said this is him actually being Spider-Man.
Right.
Yeah, in a way, but it could also very well be him being a Stark Spider-Man. I mean, there's some stuff in here that's like just really next level. And I would have preferred a more base, like, I ain't got no money Spider Man. This dude's got some cash somewhere. But my point being is that I still enjoyed the film. We still liked it. It still got some good action in it. My take with some of the CGI, look, there are some interesting, well shot web scenes, right, of him swinging or certain moves that he does. Yeah, there's some really cool shit. And yes, they use the video game as inspiration, right? There's no doubt about it. Some of his gadgets, even. So in that respect, yeah, like there is some cool stuff in here. But overall, for me, I was just disappointed because I guess I was looking for something else out of the film than what it ended up being. And I kind of really don't know where they go from here. I guess that's the other thing I was curious about.
Yeah.
Where do they go after this movie? Um, you know, eh, eh,
Well,
Bringing
and
in another character,
yeah.
right? We're gonna see that, I'm sure.
Well, I
And
mean, the frustrating part is that they could have done this without bringing that villain in because you have the entire Six. Spider-Man has first or second, I'd say second greatest rogues gallery of any
okay,
superhero in the entire comic book universe, Batman being the first. So Batman and Spider-Man have the greatest rogues galleries of any comic book character ever.
yeah, I
And
agree.
and you have so many that you could choose from. You even have frenemies that you can choose from, and they kind of try to do that whole frenemy thing with Punisher in this. Um, but ultimately, there are so many different directions they could go. I was disappointed they tried to make this character a pseudo villain.
Yeah, yeah, sure.
Yeah.
I'm with you there. And Eric, um, yeah, I don't even know what that was. That was extremely
So
not
if you want to get
nothing.
real
It was
technical
nothing.
about what it was,
Thank you.
that was the Spider-Man humiliation scene. So the man has to be
Absolutely.
humiliated, and this is how we're going to do it in this film. And that was the only reason she was in there was to humiliate Peter Parker, Spider-Man. Well, Spider-Man because nobody knows Peter Parker. And that was her only role in the film.
The small potatoes line. I'm like, bitch,
It,
this
it's
dude
it's
fought Thanos. Like, what the fuck are you talking about?
it well no 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 it's not he small potatoes. It's
No, no, I know he
the
deals with small
case,
stuff.
right?
The Avengers deal with, and I'm like,
Well, and
really?
and not many people know that he fought Thanos
No, I mean, I could see that, but again, it's like,
because really it was Doctor Strange and Stark were the only ones who really knew that he fought Thanos.
but you would think with her being the head of the Avengers of it, I just wish they'd quit trying to make her a thing. She's not a thing. Nobody gives a shit about her.
Yeah.
And you'd think that at this point, after 3 years, she'd be filled in. Does that make sense? Like, wouldn't you be filled in on world changing events, like universe changing events, and who was involved with it?
Well,
it was
but
just odd.
here's the thing: is that Peter Parker was erased from everyone's mind, and so
Mm,
We have Spider-Man, and sometimes those events are so intertwined with Peter Parker that they're altered to a degree that you may not remember that Spider-Man was there either, right? So
Now that I don't know. Like him, Peter
okay.
Parker, yes, but him
So
as
how do you
Spider Man, no,
how
I
do you
couldn't
reconcile that
agree with
Ned
that.
was the guy in the chair for Spider-Man, but he has no recollection of any of that, right? He was the guy in the chair for Spider-Man. Why would he not remember that part of the conversation? Right? He can't remember any of that because it's so intertwined with Peter Parker that now he was just this guy and all these events happened around him with Spider-Man, right? So these things have changed because that's how the spell had to work to rip the Peter Parker out of the memory. It alters those experiences and those interactions.
With some people, but I would say that
I'm just
like
saying with a lot of people because, and again, like I was saying, Tony Stark and Doctor Strange were pretty much really the only ones who knew that Peter Parker Spider-Man was there fighting Thanos because he was snapped away, right? And so the Guardians of the Galaxy maybe know who he is because they were on the planet at
I
the
was gonna
time that
say
he
because
turned to ash.
because Star Lord fucks up in that moment. They've got Thanos all like together. I mean,
But but
and
how does that make it back to Earth? Because again, it's Tony Stark and Doctor Strange are the only ones on Earth who really knew that Spider-Man was there, and the Guardians of the Galaxy are doing their thing, and maybe they remember Spider-Man, maybe they don't. I mean,
I
it was
guess I'm
just
just
this guy that
assuming that
intertwined.
like all of the tech and the annals of the Avengers, and you have all this knowledge about all this stuff that happened. You'd have all these records. It just how would you not know who was involved in Civil War? How would you not know who involved with everything that went down? I mean, I don't know how. You know what I mean? Like I just find it weird that this character somehow is like, hey, you handle small potato shit. We handle the big shit. I'm like, bitch, you couldn't handle the big shit anyway. What are you talking about? You know what I mean? Like, your
Yeah,
movie sucked. Both
well,
of
yeah.
them.
I mean, I just see it as a small piece of intelligence that wouldn't get passed down because it's insignificant. And the only people,
Man,
okay,
insignificant.
in the larger scheme of if in the larger scheme of things, if you write an after action report, it's going to minimally recognize that that was there, so people are going to gloss over it, right? Because Peter Parker was erased from everybody's mind, and so maybe you get this little note of Spider-Man or whatever.
Well,
It's something that could be
nonetheless,
easily glossed over, especially by somebody who doesn't give a shit about following the rules or reading reports. And now she's in charge of the Avengers, and she's not Nick Fury.
yeah,
Um,
I
and
don't
and
even get
so
that shit. It makes
so
no
so she
sense.
doesn't care to read the fucking intelligence
Maybe. I
about
mean,
any of that
we're
shit.
obviously head canon here. We're just saying, oh,
Yeah,
this is how she. You know what I mean? Like
yeah.
whatever. It is what it is. I just thought it was weird. It was a weird statement from
Yeah,
her, right?
she's a terrible character. I don't care for her. And then they had to, show Peter's toes because we had to do the foot
I
thing.
yeah, like I'm like,
Again,
what is happening? Yeah.
humiliation tour for
Now flip
Spider-Man.
it around, Matthew. Do you think they'd be bold enough to have a male character put a female character and ask her to strip down
I mean, clearly
and
they
get
would
into a hot
not,
tub?
unless it was the
No.
90s, unless it was the 80s or 90s. It's not going to
Boy,
happen.
I wish it were. uh, Giraffe, yeah, having to witness the girls get it done moment during the fight with Thanos would make everybody try to forget what
Come on,
happened there.
Pop. I gotta fix it. You gotta say the name correctly. It's Graph.
You know what? Actually, I'm taking the pronunciation from Clint Jorgensen.
I'm taking the
That's the
pronunciation from.
pronunciation he used, and he's really good friends with him. So
Well,
I'm
I'm going to
gonna.
use the pronunciation Graph because there's three R's in there, so you're emphasizing the R's. So you got to
No,
say Graph.
I like it. I'll let him determine. Yeah, giraffe. You tell me. But yeah, no, pretty funny though. Yeah, that scene was lame and extremely insignificant. Um, what show Peter's toes? Yeah, yeah. It's there. It's like an awkward. It's supposed to show. It's like that awkward where you roll the toes, right? You show the toe. You kind of show the little like bing bing bing. And as in like this is really awkward scene.
Yeah.
Kind of
So
deal.
he's sitting in the cloudy hot tub, so you don't see the nakedness of Pew, and he just kind of relaxes, and his feet come up,
His feet come
and
up.
she looks
Yeah.
at him funny, and then his feet come back down.
Yeah.
It was just another one of those. Let's humiliate Spider-Man. Oh, you still wear the mask in the hot tub? Oh, you're
Yeah,
so
yeah, yeah, yeah.
cute. You're
And I mean,
so
look,
cute.
if someone wants to say, "Hey, that's a spoiler scene," I'm like, trust me when I tell you,
That ain't no
that
fucking spoiler.
ain't nothing.
That's nothing.
That
That's
ain't
nothing.
nothing. It's dumb and it's really goofy. And one thing my son said about the film too, because he was kind of, I guess earlier we were talking about it as well, and he, compiling my thoughts about it, putting it down on paper, and And he kind of was like, "Yeah, to me it seemed more too much of like a Sony movie." And I thought, well, it,
Of course, it
really,
was. It
it
was a Sony
was,
movie.
but I thought they
It was
tried to
distributed
make
by
certain
Columbia
scenes like
Pictures.
a, no, no, no. What I mean is talking about tone, and not that who made it. It was more. I thought it was more like they tried to MCU it up a bit in certain
They did.
scenes.
No,
You know,
absolutely. It was. I would say that it was probably 80% Sony, 20% Marvel, Disney Marvel.
yeah. Now, a couple things with this film is that they did change the villain 3 times. All right.
Well,
They
and
even
and and the villain who is the villain in this movie was not the original villain that
they
they had
exactly.
written, and they had to cut a bunch of scenes and rework a bunch of scenes to make that villain the villain, pseudo villain, whatever.
And so, knowing that and going back and thinking about it, it's like, well, the original villains supposedly they had were nobodies. Okay, like they really were not anybody you would know from Rogues Gallery. It really was not anybody you would even think of if you had 100 guesses. Okay, 30 guesses, whatever. You probably would not come up with a couple names that they were banding about. Um, However, I believe Tom Holland, somebody at Sony wanted to get uh, Venom in this movie,
Yeah.
and
Yep.
um, I think that would have been fun. I don't know how that would have gone if it was Tom Hardy villain or
No,
Venom.
no,
My
no,
bad.
no. So hey, so here's the deal. So they already set this up. So it was already pre-set up in a post-credit scene or whatever uh, from
Right.
um, from No Way Home, right? So Tom Hardy's not in this universe. He's out.
See, that's what I was
But
wondering because
but Venom is not because a piece of Venom was left and
that
was
right,
making its way to New York, and that was the
right.
last we saw of that the piece of the symbiote. So we could have had Venom in this, and they could have done any version of Venom that they wanted
I
to.
thought that would have been a far better. Fuck the Tom Hardy part, right? Okay,
Yeah, yeah.
just Venom in general. For me, seeing the possibility of that, but uh, Disney did not want Venom in the MCU yet. They do not want
I
him as
I
being
think
part of, at least not yet, and it's probably because they
it's
have
a
plans
shame.
of their own. I agree.
I know I agree, and it's a shame because I think that that could have been really kind of interesting.
I agree. I really, really feel that way. Joe Fan 84, what the heck is
What's
going
up?
on? Mr. S, what's up? Hanging out, watching. We are dancing around the plot. We are dancing around the Spider-Man movie. We are going to discuss some spoilers here in just a bit. Just want to let you know that and let anybody know that that we to dig into the movie. Now I know it's only been out for 4 days, and I know that is something that a lot of people are, will not be happy about. I fully understand. But in order to really get into the meat of this movie and some of the things with it that we like or didn't like, then there's really no way to do it. Um, Now,
So yeah, Justin, this is an interesting comment here. Um, they need to stop intertwining all these different characters into these standalone films. That's one of the James Gunn Superman films. Was hot garbage. Yeah, and they do that because they don't have good writers and they don't know
yeah,
what to do. So
yeah,
they say, let's put this person in it and we can get this actor and this character and we can throw all these characters in there and they're going to ooh and ah over that character being put on screen in front of them because they're all salivating, waiting for that comic book cover freeze frame photo image from the live action movie that we can go snap, snap. There's the photo cover because they did that a bunch of times in this movie. But they throw all these characters in there for the reason that they don't know how to write a
right.
compelling story without the buzzwords, without the buzz
Now,
characters.
I will say this that was a fun thing with the comic covers, paying homage.
You
I
know,
think that's a
it
fun
was.
thing to
I just
do.
thought it was funny that they did the freeze frames to
Yes,
exemplify this is a comic book
absolutely.
cover.
Yes, very much so. And and really mostly in the beginning, right? I mean, you did have a couple, but
Well, there were a
at
couple
least,
later on because they
yeah.
had one with a hand and stuff like that. But
Yes,
yeah,
that one was cool as well,
yeah.
and cool fight, and
Oh yeah, yeah. The
um,
fighting was pretty good.
yeah, and I'll be honest with you. Before the movie, and before obviously not only necessarily Saturday, watching the 5 hour, because you have to understand, I'm not there for all 5 hours, right? I'm dipping in and out. I've got shit going on, so I'm like, I'll tune in for a few minutes, I'll tune out for a few minutes, right? So it's just kind of on. So
Yeah.
like, I didn't know, a couple of the things in there. Really, the main focus of the villain, I actually didn't even know that going in.
No.
Okay, I really didn't.
Hmm.
But uh, the uh, the hand, I thought they were there for an incredibly different reason that I had my hopes up for.
Yeah. Well, you hope because we've seen them do cool stuff before, but no, they're mercs.
Dude, so disappointing.
So disappointing. Yeah, and okay, you guys want to hear me rant? Let's rant a little bit.
All
I
right,
can rant about this without spoiling too much.
okay.
But so the hand are in this, but they are thugs. They are mercenaries. And in the very first scene that we see them in, they're wearing their swords upside down. They're on the correct side, but they're upside down.
Yes, yes. You
So
sent me
I
that.
have to do this because it is the craziest thing ever. Because the only way that you would wear a sword like that is if you were on horseback. It is not for the samurai or ninja to wear their sword like that because ninja didn't exist. But samurai didn't wear their swords like that because you cannot draw a Japanese sword that way for normal drawing purposes. And so it was ridiculous to see all these guys lined up next to each other with their swords upside down. I was like, did nobody correct that? But they
when
fixed it because I looked because later in the film they were wearing them all correctly.
when you sent me that message, I lost it. I was like, "Oh my gosh, you got to be kidding me!" And of course, you would obviously be looking for that. Of course, I thought that was, dude, that was magic. I got that. And I was like, "Are you serious? Like,
I knew you'd
really?"
love that. That's why I was like,
Yeah, no, yeah, that was awesome. But yeah, so they, it was they were a disappointment for me. Mendoza, how the
the
heck are
fight
you?
scenes. Yeah, what's up? The fight scenes were good, but it was lame how they used them because they're such a powerful organization in the
Yes,
MCU, in Marvel, sorry, and in the Daredevil Netflix series, right?
well,
There's this whole underground thing.
that's what I was getting at with them.
they're
That's
so
what I was
important,
hoping. That's what I was hoping for. Was
and
why are we in a
yeah,
cell? Why are we in a prison like setting? And at the end of Daredevil, Born Again season 2, and I'm thinking, ooh.
yeah.
Okay, are they?
So
You know,
the only rationale that I could have that I could see somebody doing this with them is that uh, one of the New York leader of the Hand was Sigourney Weaver, and Sigourney Weaver was killed off in the Defenders, I think, or whatever.
oh
Um,
yeah, yeah.
so because Sigourney Weaver was one of the fingers of the Hand, that they were in disarray and didn't know what to do, which is also bullshit because there are other leaders of the Hand. But anyway,
So, yeah, I was super, super hoping they were there to like try to murder uh, Daredevil, and I was really hoping that Spider Man would have to save him. I was hoping
that
that was part of it. You know what I
that
mean?
was
Like
that
he had
was
to.
my biggest disappointment of the whole movie was that Daredevil wasn't in it.
I mean, dude, can you imagine? Okay, so before we get into any kind of spoiler or anything, I was sitting there thinking during the movie. I'm not lying. I was like, can you imagine how awesome this fight scene is that's going on at the end of the movie, right, with them, and how awesome it would be if Daredevil was in here with Spidey fighting these guys and throwing his batons around while Spider-Man like webs it and then swings one around and knocks somebody. Like, can you imagine the choreography they could do with Daredevil and Spider-Man? And I was so hoping that was part of this movie. And
They,
of course it's not, but damn, that would have been awesome, dude.
so I will say that having Daredevil, Spider Man, and Punisher together is one of the greatest threesomes in Marvel. If you put those three guys together, you've got something really cool.
I need a
It's
cigarette after that, Matthew.
I mean, it's to be fair, it's right up there with Daredevil, Iron Fist, and Luke Cage working together, right? I
Right.
mean, those two groups of three-person team ups is some of my favorite stuff. And yeah, yeah,
No, I'm with you, dude. No, that's why I said it's like after that threesome, I need a cigarette. Um,
yeah.
yeah, no, I look, Punisher, Daredevil, Spider Man, like working together. Holy shit!
Yeah.
Like,
No,
come on,
that's
and that's
awesome. Yeah,
why
because
I,
each one of them is trying to keep the other one in check.
yeah,
You've got Daredevil, the Catholic cynic. You've got Spider-Man, the hopeful, youthful guy. You've got Punisher, the hardened, murderous, vengeful kind of vigilante guy, and they're all trying to keep each other in check from all of
yeah,
their foibles. And you have to pull Matt back from the brink of depression. You have to pull Peter Parker
Frank.
down and say you got to do things more realistic. You got to stop Frank from killing everybody.
Yeah, right. Uh, and look, Giraffe. Next time I'll say it the other way. Best threesome: MJ, Black Cat, Electra. Not bad, my friend.
Yeah, that's a good
Uh,
one.
so yes, a Daredevil cameo. I really was hoping for
Would have
Matt
killed it.
Murdock
Yeah,
being in
no, that would have been
prison. The
awesome.
hand are sent there for some reason, and Spidey's got to go in there and help save him or whatever. And they, whatever it was. I was really hoping for that, and it did not happen, obviously. But yeah, that would have been super cool. Mother Slug, no, no, and no again. That's some of those other things that by the time we're here in the fourth movie, there's some characters I'd like to start
Now,
seeing. But again, Sony doesn't necessarily maybe have ownership of some of those characters. I don't know
well,
what that
so
looks
it's
like.
not so between Sony and Disney working together in this, they could have
Right.
included anybody because obviously who the pseudo villain is. You say no Black Cat with a question mark, and that was another nitpick that I have is that this movie would have been served greatly by Spider-Man and Black Cat creating a
Yeah.
relationship because he can't have the relationship that he wants with the people that he is closest to, that he develops the relationship with other people, and that's when you bring in Black Cat.
It's been 3 years, man. Come on.
3 years.
That's one of my things. It's been 3 years we pick up, and and
Yep.
and I'm just like, really? Like, come on, man. Like, there's not anybody else.
Yeah. Oh no. Pop froze. Is it just Pop? Nope. Yep, he froze. Well, the hand, the foot, the League of Assassins, all great equalizers for the combat soups. Yep, I mean, I agree they are, and they get underutilized in just about everything that they're in. So that's just something that unfortunately we get stuck with is
Hang
these
on.
incompetent writers who don't know how to deal with an imposing force such as that mysterious assassin group, ninja clan, whatever, that's ominous and in the background. They just use them as thugs, and it's a waste of who they are. Um, yeah,
All right.
you're still jumping around a little bit.
Yeah, no, I think it's usually actually about this time of night. Sometimes when I
Okay.
come home from work, I usually get home right about now, and I'll walk in the door and I'll look up at my little router, the little satellite box, and it will. It's like for some reason between 10 and 11, occasionally it will just go. It'll cut out. So hopefully momentarily,
Yep.
it just did it a couple times and it's done, and that's usually what happens. So my apologies. But yeah, what can I do, right? Stew for lunch is here. Spider blue balls for sure. But yeah, man, like that was one of my things. Like it's been 3 years, and I honestly I don't know what you just said because I was just had two spinning orbs on my screen where our cameras would be. But I just felt like that being part of it. Hey, man, it's been 3 years, buddy. Like you don't have any friends. You got nobody. I mean, and look, I get the idea of self penance. I get the
Yeah.
idea of putting yourself into something and saying, this is my lot in life, kind of thing,
Yep.
and I'm just
Yep.
gonna live it. But like, I don't see Pete that way, and he damn sure didn't come across that way in this movie. He comes across as a fucking stalker is what he comes across as initially. I get it.
Nah, I don't think
Oh
so.
man, come
Yeah,
on
hey, you're
now.
going all Rachel Zegler on me here now. Weird, weird.
Weird, weird, weird.
It's
No,
stalker. It's stalkerish behavior. No, come
it
on,
was
man.
stalkerish after 3 years.
Come on. Yeah,
Dude,
no,
would you go check in on your ex after 3 fucking years? No, you wouldn't. You wouldn't. Have you done that before?
yeah, I have.
I knew it. It's okay. I have done it on Facebook. No,
Uh,
no. I get it. I just thought that like the party scene because that's in the trailers. The party scene. I'm like, I
yeah,
get it, but after 3 years,
no.
it's like, do you really want to like do that? Like, you don't do anything else?
I don't know what he was trying to get out of it. And then, well, we'll get to some spoilers later. Mother Slug asked a good question, and I wanted to get back to that,
Yeah. Where is that?
because that is, it's not off topic. I think it's perfectly
Oh,
on
that's right.
topic
Yes.
to
Okay.
talk about this because I said it before and I'll say it again. I believe Spider-Man: Brand New Day will be the highest grossing movie of the year.
Hands down.
It will, in my opinion, it will beat out Doomsday. Now, because of how good this movie is and how well it's doing at the box office now, people are excited about it. That's going to help Doomsday out, just like Spider-Man: No Way Home helped Doctor Strange: Two Moms,
Right.
right? So it helped that movie out incredibly, because people were like, "Oh, well, we got to see the next one." And people are confusing Sony and Disney movies because they're cross-pollinating in these Spider-Man movies.
Yeah.
And even so that Sydney Sweeney thought she was doing a Disney MCU movie when she was doing a Sony movie.
I
You
mean,
know,
I do feel like Doomsday, the
it
spectacle
it's
people are
gonna
going
do
to be interested
well.
in. Yeah, it'll do well, but it sounds like a damn mess of a movie. It really
And
sounds
here's the
like a
thing.
mess.
Here's a difference between Odyssey and Spider-Man, and probably Doomsday as well. Uh, Everyone that I've talked to who's come out of seeing Spider-Man says they can't wait to see it again. Right? No one has said that about the Odyssey. Not one person
Um,
has said I can't wait to see it again. They say,
yeah,
yeah, I saw it, so I'm good.
yeah.
Right? And I think Doomsday will have a mixed appeal on that. I believe that there's going to be a lot of people that'll be like, that was garbage. I don't care to see that again. Or some people like, I don't know if I got it. Maybe I'll see it again, but I'll wait till streaming. I don't know. I just don't think that Doomsday will have the replayability that this Spider-Man movie does.
No, and also I don't think after 6 years, basically, the excitement level for
Well,
this for Doomsday
and
relative to Spider-Man, I think the
yeah,
excitement
yeah,
level is
it's
much
totally
is
different.
higher,
Yep.
and Doomsday is kind of like, oh yeah, that's right. Isn't there a Marvel movie coming out in December? I've
Well,
heard that.
but yeah, exactly, exactly. And here's the other part of that puzzle. They're trying to ignore about 6 years of content
Yeah,
and go back and say this is just after Infinity War. You have to watch all these things to catch up to this. Oh yeah, maybe you watch Shang-Chi, whatever, blah blah blah. They're trying to not say those things. They're trying to say go watch the Infinity War revamp where we completely alter Captain America's journey that we knew from what we saw when we originally saw it. We're going to change that now, so it will tie directly into this, and that we can get this other Captain America, maybe some Hydra Cap. I don't know. Maybe we'll see.
oh yeah, it's whether that happens in this, I don't know. I think they have to get him back in a uniform though. That's for sure. This black shirt and
Well,
jeans
they're
shit.
not going to do that. They're not going to do that.
Um, well,
Menjoza, I would recommend seeing Brand New Day. I would say go check it out.
yeah, I would say go
It's
check it
good.
out.
I understand the lack of enthusiasm for Doomsday. The what they're doing with the MCU. I don't think many people are going to like it after Doomsday, and they're sure not going to like it after Secret Wars. So,
Justin Booth. So I went back and I found. That's evidently where I froze, Matthew. That's not flattering at all. What do you have to say for
Never
yourself?
is.
Oh no, I'm
Never
kidding.
is.
No, it never is. This
Look
is
at how disappointed
awful.
I look at you.
Oh my god. Oh shit, that's terrible. I'm like, I literally look like my whole body's locked up. Yelena showed up at my house and tased the shit out of me.
Yeah,
Uh,
with her uh, Black Widow stingers, right?
oh my god, that was awful. Yes, Stu. We were talking about relationships and stuff, and yeah, the girl that I guess is in his apartment building, right, or whatever, and he kind of
Hey, they're trying to
bailed
do
out.
a Spider-Man 3 thing, right?
Right.
That's who Peter should have gone with because MJ was getting
Well,
contentious there.
and that girl, I think she's from Nashville, if I remember
Oh
right.
yeah.
She got that part in the movie, and they play like the Russian neighbors or whatever the hell they
Yeah,
are,
man.
right?
I thought that was a great little thing that they threw in
Yeah,
there.
no, for sure. God, I love that James Brown song though. I'm not gonna lie, I do. That. Oh man, mm, funky son. Todd C says they made Spider-Man a cuck in the comics. They absolutely did. At least they
Well,
didn't do it in the
you can
movies
thank
yet.
JMS, who wrote Brand New Day, who wrote the worst Spider-Man comic
Yeah,
of all time
yeah.
that destroyed comic book shops around the country.
Man, Joseph says it sucks because I'm still very interested in John Walker and Thor, even though he mentioned that he really doesn't have any interest in Doomsday or Brand New Day. I mean, I get it. I mean, I think the problem is that we've the last several years since Endgame, and honestly, I mean, Endgame was cool, but I do view Endgame as a bit of a disappointment as a film, even after I saw it, not just years later. But unfortunately, the last several years of Disney Plus shows and these movies have really soured how we look back, and they've soured the excitement level
Yeah.
of remembering what it's like to be, hyped for an Avengers movie and see these characters. It's because now they've tried to make D-list characters and C-list characters
Yeah, they have.
popular. They
Yep.
they they they've tried hard. They tried to interject more female characters and more female heroes. They made some of these guys guest stars in their own film. And it hasn't worked. And
Nope.
unfortunately, it's turned their fans into the opposite direction to where now they don't even pay attention. They don't care. And
Right.
that's a shame. It's a shame
Yep.
that that's what
Mother
happened.
Slug brings up a point that he's missing one crucial point of that. The top three box office grossing movies of the year all have Zendaya in them,
That's just
and
nuts, dude.
two of them have Tom Holland in them as well.
Right.
But you've got Dune. Also, she's in Dune. She's in the Odyssey. She's
Yeah.
in Spider-Man.
I don't. She
So
can't. I don't think she can act worth a shit. Although I will say
yeah, so she
that
was
in
better in this
this
movie than
movie,
she's ever been.
yes, I agree. That's what I was getting ready to say. I
Yeah,
do agree with you
absolutely.
there. Yes. But
But
overall,
in Dune, uh, she's not playing Chani from the books. She's playing some other modern woke character who is not Chani. And in the Odyssey, I mean, she was a plank of wood, and that's usually what she plays. So
and then I'll get to these quickly from Justin. MCU will officially go to shit after Avengers Doomsday, and says I'm not gonna watch Avengers Doomsday in theaters at this point. I just don't care enough to want to go see it. I have heard that from a few people that they're
yeah,
like, I'll just wait for it on streaming.
the whole premise of Doomsday is flawed on the outset. Secret Wars again is going to piss off a lot of people. So
Yes, and
just be prepared.
Johnny Reno's out there in the YouTube land watching the show. He's not in the chat, but he is hanging
What's
out
up,
watching.
Johnny?
Just want to make sure I let him know I just saw the message, brother. Um, okay, a couple more here really quickly. My reasons to of hate to Endgame. No Adam Warlock or Surfer. Let's add Captain Marvel instead to make women feel powerful. Yeah,
They
look,
they
we've
messed up
talked
Endgame.
a
They
hundred
messed up
percent.
Endgame.
Yes.
I was they completely destroyed Tony Stark's character and Steve Rogers' character. Um, and if they hadn't done what they did to those characters, Endgame could have been an amazing movie. Tony Stark
Yeah,
sacrifices his life. Captain America, maybe he sacrifices his life also. Or there's so many other things that you could have done. But
right.
no, Steve Rogers had to betray everything that he ever stood for his entire life to go back and be selfish and become an alternate timeline that needs to be pruned from the time agency or whatever. And you have Tony Stark, who could have had his daughter. He could have had his cake and eaten it too. He could have had his daughter.
Yeah.
He didn't have to erase that time frame or bring everybody back at a time frame other than when they left. He should have done it so that nobody knew that it happened. Everybody came back exactly at the same point that they were wiped out and started over from there. And it said save my daughter. Okay, you can throw that in there too, right? There's a lot of things that you could have done differently that wouldn't have caused so many destructive elements to the whole universe.
I,
Um,
I
you
I
know,
will say
there's
this.
so many logic flaws in that it just it hurts the brain.
I will say that the build up. You know, we talked about this last week, but the build up for Thanos, the build up for the Infinity Gauntlet and Stones,
Yeah.
and we've really had no build up for Doctor Doom, and
No,
I
we
just
haven't.
find it's
And
going to be
Kevin Feige doesn't
really hard.
understand what buildup is either.
Nope.
His comments were so dumb. It's like he doesn't even understand it. Yeah, those 2 seconds of film or those little end scene credit things or whatever, they built anticipation. You realize how much he was manipulating behind the scenes in every one of those things. Every one of them had meaning,
Well, the
right?
Tesseract, the Stones. I mean, you know,
Yeah,
each movie, you know, they had certain meaning. The Stones were featured, even though maybe Thanos wasn't necessarily, but it was like, you know, it was about,
right, but you
you know,
knew that he was behind the scenes waiting to get it.
yeah.
You know, he was collecting the gauntlet. He was manipulating the things that happened in New York with Loki. You know, he was doing all these things behind the scenes. So you built up this anticipation. Oh, this is going to be awesome. So when you reveal him in Infinity War, it's the best movie that the MCU made, right? And
Oh
then
gosh, yeah.
Endgame comes and you just blew your wad. You
Yeah.
wasted it all.
So, so we're gonna discuss a little bit
Yeah,
more of this
absolutely,
movie because
Menjoza.
you know we've got about 30 minutes to go.
All
We're gonna
right,
talk a bit more about Spider-Man. There is gonna be some spoiler talk. So,
spoilers.
for those of you
Do you
who
have
have
a
seen
spoiler
it,
banner to pop up?
I do. For those of you that have seen the movie, obviously stick around. For those of you that have not seen the movie and are planning on going to see the movie, you know, soon, although tickets are still difficult, I fully understand about bailing out. I hate, you know, don't want to lose anybody, but I do understand because I don't want anybody to be upset that uh, anything that they heard here. And so fully understand. Like Three Star said, I'll see y'all later.
All right, 3 star.
Definitely. But we're gonna kind of chop it up a little bit on this. You know, and it's funny because honestly, a lot of the shows that I watched, they were spoiling the shit out of this on Friday. Like, you know,
Look, and I get
it's
it
like
because
wow.
the first big spoiler we have to get through with this, I didn't think was a spoiler because I knew about this a year ago, and I thought everybody understood that that's what was happening. As soon as the teaser trailer came out, you, I, I figured that part out.
All right, I'm putting the banner up there, y'all. I'm gonna flash it. Spoiler alert! Spoiler alert! Spoiler alert! All right, so we're gonna chop it up. We're gonna chop it up a little bit so you guys know. Eric says, "Let's spoil this shit. Let's get it on." And Mother Slug, we will tell you who the real
Yeah.
weak ass villain is. Okay,
Right. Well, hold on now. The real villain of the movie actually is pretty decent, and they could have done something different with him, but I think
Metzger.
that yeah,
Yeah. Okay.
yeah. So
So damage control. And I'm not gonna take long on this, by the way.
yeah,
Damage control is kind of the villain here. We don't know a lot of what's going on, but basically, the premise is they have someone locked away, and yes, Jean Grey is trying to figure out how to get to that person or that
yeah. So
entity.
Yeah, Jean Grey is the pseudo villain,
Yes.
and she is one of the most evil people in the MCU because she murders hundreds of, maybe thousands of people in this movie in her
It's
process,
weird.
when she could have simply just zipped her way in to the top levels of the organization, got a hold of Bill Metzger's brain, controlled him to get the information she needed, and then like crushed his brain or whatever and been done with it. Okay. Do you know who Bill Metzger is, Pop?
So, I was trying to do a little bit of research
Okay.
on
So
him.
you did not know before.
I did
Okay.
not know before
Yeah.
about Metzger. So this was kind of an introduction for me of this character. And from the comics, I'll let you go ahead because you're going to be able to explain it much better than I will, succinctly anyway.
Yeah. So Bill Metzger is the uh, Foundation of Anti Mutants group leader, right? So he was superpowered beings came into existence, and he started a cult to try and kill them, to try and control them. He's a racist, right? And I think it's awesome that you pick a black guy and you make him a racist
Yeah,
and you
that was
throw him
pretty
in there
wild.
as the ultimate villain. I think that was kind of cool, but he played the character well. But ultimately, he's the one who develops and tries to implement the mutant blocking technology so that superpowered beings can't use their abilities, and you can control them. And then he develops the Master Mold and the Sentinels and all this stuff with Trask and some other people. But he's kind of one of those initial
Okay.
impetuses in the X-Men universe of controlling mutants. And since he's the head of this organization, and spoiler alert, in this movie, Peter Parker develops a way to control all mutant DNA.
Oh my god. Oh my god. Okay. And that's one of my problems with, I think, the movie. I will lay this out because we don't necessarily have to give the entire plot per se, but basically, Damage Control is befriends Peter Parker. They know, or Spider Man rather, and they know that Spider Man, for some reason, they have been made aware of Jean Grey. They don't know who she is. They probably do, or they do, but she can basically get into other people and take control of their body, right? So she has a distance that she has that
33
she can,
feet.
33 feet. If within 33 feet of somebody, she can jump into their body and take over their body. And then
And we,
after it happens, they don't remember it. They don't know
right.
what they did. They have no idea what they've just done, but she's able to take over someone's body, but she
So,
cannot take over Spider Man's head for some
sure.
reason.
We learn this fully, that 33 feet and all that stuff, in a flashback scene with her and her sister at the park.
Yes.
Um, and her sister's playing with this power. What's really interesting is Sadie Sink is 24 years old. The person who plays her sister in the
Oh my
movie
God. She,
is 16 years
yeah,
old,
it was
and
really
she's playing
weird.
her older sister.
It was so weird because I'm sitting there looking at it and I'm like, this girl looks really young, and Sadie Sink looks totally like 10 years older than her, and it's her older
She's well,
sister. I'm
she's
like,
8 years older, so yeah.
it is weird. I'm like, this is not. This is very strange. It was very noticeable. I mean, it just
Yeah.
is. You can't
Well,
not
but
notice it.
but the 16-year-old is taller and actually
Yeah.
kind of has a little bit of an older look to her. So I understand why they cast her for the role,
Yeah,
but
but she still looks. She looked like
she's
a
still
15
she's
year old girl
awkward.
to me.
She's got that awkward teenager thing going for
Yeah, but
her.
no, nonetheless, she's they basically kidnap her sister, and
And her sister mind controls Sadie Sink, Jean Grey, into walking away instead of trying to fight them. And so she wakes up without any memory after she's gone.
yes. So she got a vision from her sister, right? And it's these words called VMAX,
VMAX.
and so she's searching for VMAX. That's all she can see that she saw from her
Not to be
sister.
confused with Baymax.
Yeah. Oh, good character. Anyway,
Yeah.
so So nonetheless, the crux of it is her trying to find her sister, and she basically is trying to get to or figure out how to get to damage control, whatever. The experiments they're doing, they did on her sister, and they're trying, like you said, they're trying to map her brain, the brain of an empath, someone it's a psychic, and try to replicate it, and so then they can produce a way to fight against it. So that you find that out in the film,
Well,
but
they want to replicate it so they can control the
well, yeah,
power
yeah,
and
control,
yeah.
yeah, control. So, so okay, fine. Like I get it, and they are kind of the true villain, but they do befriend Spider-Man. He uh, basically helps them out unknowingly, okay, because of he doesn't know that they've trapped or had Jean Grey's sister behind this
Well,
gigantic door in this room. He mentions it early in the film. He's like, "Man, you must have something behind that steel door and that safe back there. It must be really powerful, you know." And but he unknowingly helps them basically capture Jean Grey because, and here's one of my main issues, Matthew. I wanted this to be Spider Man starting over. I wanted this to be Peter Parker having a job, having no money, very like his tech, he's building it. Dude, he has this fully integrated AI assistant that can analyze his DNA and like do all this shit. He's able to make as let's see here as
he's
someone
got a
put it.
fab. He's got a
He has a
replicatory
3D
fab.
printer.
No, it's not just a 3D printer. That's a
It's
fab,
well, I
right?
know it's he's got a fabricator, but he does create this because his arachnid DNA
Okay,
starts
hold
to.
on, rewind. Hold on a second.
We can bounce around. I'm just bringing
Yeah,
up
I know.
certain
I
things that I
sure,
I like about it. I just thought all the
but okay.
tech
So
he had.
he's got this tech, but
Yes, he's got a
we need to go
fabricator.
we need to go back and lay out how this whole thing plays out, right? So he has this existential crisis of being alone and so focused on work. He's in constant contact with this police detective who he knows nothing about, but they're in regular conversations. She doesn't know him, he doesn't know her really, but somehow they're still working together, and she trusts him because he's a good guy, and he's helping people. But she doesn't report him. She doesn't do anything. But she's a cop, and so they race swap this cop, and they raced another ginger from the universe by making this a black woman. So if you're big on the loss of ginger chalkboard, you got another one to throw up there. And then they have this just weird relationship. So he's not really on his own, and then this existential crisis, this stress, triggers the mutation in his bloodstream to bring out more and more arachnid DNA, and he can't control it. So he goes to Bruce Banner, who's a professor at a college, and talks to him about the inhibitor. He wears an inhibitor so he can't transform into Hulk. And so he's like, "Well, how do I do this for me?" And then they talk about it being universal, and they talk, and then Banner brings up, "Well, how do you know what's good and what's bad? How do you know what's trying to become something else that is good?" Well, then that goes to the fact that why are you wearing an inhibitor then, Bruce? Why haven't you learned to meld with Hulk like you did when you were Smart Hulk, but now we've reverted back? I mean, I don't understand why you have you imprisoned Hulk behind this wall instead of learning to control it. And now you're giving Peter Parker an out to do this, and now he's got the technology to build one for himself. Well, now you have the psychic running around, so he figures a way to modify it to be universal, even though Banner warned him about the dangers of it being universal and the dangers of putting it on somebody who hasn't figured out who they are yet. And so this is a dangerous gambit of free will versus predestination versus a lot of other things that are going on, which is a topic that's well beyond this movie, but it is still an
Yeah,
interesting conversation
it
between them.
it's within, yeah, the topic, is within the movie. It's about whether or not, you should embrace change, right? Okay, he's changing, he's growing up, he's becoming a man, he's out of high school, he's 3 years out of school now, blah blah blah. I just thought that him having this
Yep.
fabricator and this AI technology, and him literally being able to take and make an inhibitor on his own, and then plug it into a USB port into his computer.
Of
I
course.
was like,
Everything's USB powered.
all
Come on.
right, like, for me, that just it was like, no, that's not, this is not the storyline I want. And
Tony
and and and
Stark built this in a cave with scraps. I mean,
that's
come
Tony,
on.
that's Tony
Come
Stark.
on. Well, Peter Parker is also brilliant.
This
So
is this is the Spider-Man I wanted. I wanted this Spider-Man in the movie. I didn't want,
I was
because the
waiting for
only
the
thing
six
that
arms.
happens to him is his eyes turn black
I
and
was
his
waiting
his
for the six
veins
arms.
bulge.
I was waiting for the six arms. I was
I think it's
excited to
Frank,
see that he was going to go full mutant on
right?
everybody. And I wanted to see that also, but I also know what path that takes him down. And again, that's outside of what this movie was about, and it could have been about it. And it is one of those things of him becoming, because he can't control the mutation. And then here's a true hero moment. He's in battle with Scorpion, who's possessed by Jean Grey at the time, and he's beating the hell out of him with whatever comes his way. And a cop car comes up and gets wrecked in the process.
Yeah.
And then Jean Grey flees, and he regains control of himself.
Scorpion
And
regains control of himself.
no, Scorpion doesn't regain control of himself. Jean Grey left. Peter Parker regains control of himself and sees what happened and goes over to freak out and apologize and see if the officer's okay. And the detective's like, "Hey, get the hell out of here. You got to fix your shit." And that was a hero moment, because he regretted the injury that person took. Unlike Jean Grey, who fucking throws a guy in front of a bus and doesn't give a fuck. She murdered hundreds of people downtown Manhattan by freezing everybody and causing car wrecks, and she murders a whole bunch of DOA agents, or whatever they're called, in all these government facilities. She murders people who are good people, or injures them permanently by blown out kneecaps or whatever. But she straight up murks a ton of people and doesn't give a fuck about humanity
Yeah, but
in
she's
this.
misunderstood,
Yeah, she
and
was
she's
tortured. She
trying to
wasn't
get
tortured.
her
Her sister was kidnapped, taken
right.
away from her. Okay, there's anger to be had there, but still, she goes on this rampage and just murders a
So
1,000 people.
I personally emotionally did not buy the cop scene with the cop car, and they pull the chick cop out of the car and lay her on the ground, and then you have
Yeah, but you're a
the
misogynist who doesn't like fat
detective.
people.
That's true, but the I mean, I'm not going to deny it. The detective DeWolf, who is also in the video games, um, I did not like this character.
No,
Um,
it was almost a pointless character.
it was, and honestly, emotionally, I honestly, I did not buy that scene. I know what you're saying. Yeah, a hero moment. He's concerned about the officer, but emotionally, I didn't think it was very well acted in the moment, and it went very flat for me. In that moment, I was like, okay, I get it. This is supposed to give us some stakes or something, right? But it fell flat for me in
It
that
it
moment.
it shows the lack of control that Peter's had, and he's realizing that he's had,
Oh,
and he's
sure,
got,
of
and
course.
so this gives him an impetus to want to control this mutation that's happening within him,
Yes.
because people are getting hurt now because he's letting this thing is taking over him, and he doesn't want to be taken over by anything, because then he's out of control, and if he's out of control, then things can go very, very badly.
And
and
look, the
and so this is a
game.
this is a learning moment for him. and
Yeah,
and
sure.
yes, Mother Slug, it is still a good Spider-Man movie.
I didn't
Yes,
think
there are
it was.
flaws, but they don't, if you watch it all the way through, there's context to a lot of the stuff. But this is one of those things that I thought was a good scene,
Sure. No,
because
I totally get the scene. It fell flat for me. I didn't think it was very well acted. I get the spirit of the scene. I understand what it's supposed to convey. I'm just saying it came across really flat to me. Obviously not everybody, right? It's
Right.
made $1 billion. It came across very flat, very contrived. But of course, the message, yes, he realizes like I'm out of control. Now in the video games, he has the symbiote attached to him, right? And so he gets out of control there. And
Yep.
and that's where you get this mirroring of the games, and then inspiration with this film is his arachnid DNA kind of
Yep.
spiking and taking over. I guess my only thing was I would have liked to have seen it play out in other ways than just black eyes and anger, if
Yeah,
that
well,
makes
I
sense.
get it. It's Jay Gonzo. Hey, welcome, buddy. We're talking
What's
spoilers on
up?
Spider-Man. So
Yes.
thanks for coming to visit us. I just want to let you know, as you're hearing us talk, we are talking spoilers about
Yes.
Spider-Man Brand
Yes.
New Day. So if you haven't seen it or don't want to know spoilers, we appreciate you. Come back and watch it later,
No doubt about
or
it.
hang out with us and talk about this movie and all the stuff that you liked or didn't like or whatever. Um, I didn't think that that scene felt that flat because I thought that Scorpion did a fair job of playing a possessed person and then a not possessed person because he's like, wait, what? And then
Oh,
I
yeah. I
thought
mean,
Tom did
that's
a good job because
difficult.
he legitimately showed uh, regret or remorse or wanting to correct the situation any way that he could. And the cop was like, no, get the hell out of here. Yeah, okay, you don't need to be here right now. I don't want to see you right now. And her frustration was legitimate. It's like, what the hell was that? That's
No,
not
no,
how
I
you normally behave.
totally get it.
So,
The scene just didn't. I just didn't buy the scene. Personally, I don't know if it's the acting of the female officer. I did not like that character nor her delivery
well,
for
yeah,
most of it.
I get it. If you're already soured on that whole character, I just, like I said, she was mostly a useless character in this story.
She's there to
She didn't
remind
bring.
him he's not
Yep,
alone, right? You
yep,
don't have to do this alone. That she's like the little angel on the shoulder saying, "Hey, you're not alone.
yep.
We can work together. I can help you. You can help me. Whatever relationship. It's fine. It's just to me, it was almost as pointless a character as having Yelena in the film.
Yeah.
I don't.
Well,
That scene
okay.
did not need to happen. Personally, as a matter of fact, she meant nothing to the film. Yelena literally means absolutely zero to the
Yeah.
film. You could cut her scenes, both of them or whatever, even where she talks about talking to the officer. Because remember, the female detective or officer, goes to the sauna and has a spa day with Yelena.
Yeah.
She mentions it at the end of the film. And I'm like,
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
okay,
Yeah.
like
No, I
what are
mean
we
they
implying
kind of
there? I don't even
yeah, yeah,
know.
yeah, yeah. They're doing all that. What's up, Lawrence, a punk with toys? Thanks for coming to
What's
check us
going
out.
on?
You missed my glowing raving review of how much I love this movie, and now as we nitpick it, we're breaking it down as to the flaws in the movie because I liked it a whole lot more than Pop did. And we were talking about that because it's a fun movie. It's enjoyable. It's got a lot of good points to it,
Do you
but there are still a lot of flaws in the movie.
Do you feel so? One of my things, and some people in the chat are definitely going to be upset about this. And you mentioned it earlier. Uh, the Punisher cries in this fucking movie.
Yeah,
I'm sorry, but he was trying to do the right thing in taking out Jean
he
Grey.
was in full justification. He was in the right. Again, the person in the right gets belittled. John Walker did nothing wrong.
Right.
John Walker did nothing wrong in the TV show. Um,
And
and
Punisher
he
here,
gets belittled. Punisher did nothing wrong. He was doing the thing that needed to be done
it's what he
in this
does.
movie.
And
And it's what he does. Now you may disagree with his methods, and I understand that. And Peter had a different solution to the problem, and
correct.
ultimately his solution is what we're moving forward with. But you have to understand, this woman killed thousands of people.
She had a whole like mile or whatever it was of New York under control, can't move. They even show MJ with a tear running down her face because she's
Because she
stuck
can't move.
and
Yeah,
can't move, can't do anything. She's got all these New Yorkers that are just stuck at the end of the film, and the only thing
but
Punisher
think
can
about
do.
think about all the people that were in motion that continued to be in motion even though their bodies were
Oh,
frozen. The
yes,
transportation. This is where the thousands of people died, not just the
right.
people that she shot in the face with
Yes.
guns, or knees or whatever, but and the guy she threw in front of a bus. But the people that were in motion that you're not even thinking about. So there had to have been thousands of deaths that took place
So
over this.
Punisher sets up with like a freaking anti-material rifle, basically, is what I call it
Yeah.
from Fallout New Vegas. It's
Hold
like
on. Cooking with Eric. Eric, yeah. When did he cry? He
at the
cried
end
in the
in
hospital.
the hospital.
In the
In the
hospital,
hospital.
he was crying, and he was so happy that Peter was alive. He decided to become a clown and put on his mask and his gloves and pretend to be him for a minute, so the
Remember that
crowd
in the
would be
window?
distracted.
Ooh.
And
But
then the Punisher plays the idiot in the window while Spider-Man makes his escape in the
but but
crowd.
but my point is that he told Spider-Man, he tells him like, okay, I'll let you do it your way, but you know I'm gonna do it my way. And they have a little conversation on the phone, and Spider-Man's trying to tell him like, wait, and meanwhile Frank's driving, and then this whole thing goes down where all these people are frozen, right? And Frank sees this barrier, so he sets up shop as a sniper, and he gets a clear shot at Jean, and he takes the shot,
Take a
right?
shot, which is
And
what you do.
Spidey,
And
he
and
sees it, and
yep,
he senses, and then he takes the bullet
takes the bullet.
for
The
Jean.
original ending of this movie was Tom Holland died.
Yes, and look, do I want that? No, I don't
No,
want that. But
no, and that's
what
it was panned so bad they rewrote the ending for sure.
but what I think is that it's like, yeah, that's like she's got all these people under control. To
Yeah,
Frank's knowledge, she is a danger. She is a
and
danger. All right.
she's gonna kill these all of these people under control, which would be tens of thousands of people instead of thousands of people. Punisher's crying all the time. No, not the real Punisher.
Well, no,
The only time the Punisher cries is over his own family.
but
That's
you
the
know that
only time that he
in
cries.
you
And
do
in
see
the MCU, he cries like a bitch all the fucking time because
and
this is not the Punisher.
in his one-off special, he's sitting there crying, freaking out in the
Again,
chair because he's seeing
Disney's
ghosts.
Punisher is not
Yeah,
Punisher.
no, I
PG-13
hate it.
Punisher is not Punisher.
I absolutely hate it. It's interesting, and yeah, Eric. Look, I don't know, right? A 50 cal. I personally, I don't know. I love the gun though, right? But I get it.
Yeah.
But there's a lot of obviously
Punk
things
doesn't
that
read, so he doesn't know what Punisher's really like. But
but what I will say is, and he Punk might have been referencing like the MCU Punisher though. You know what I'm saying? Like he
well,
might
yeah, I
very been.
mean,
But what I will say is this, and Eric says people in the theater were crying when Spider-Man got shot.
yeah,
I will
I
tell
get it.
you, and my son may back me up on this if he's still in the room. I don't know. Our theater was very unresponsive throughout the entire movie. It was very quiet. There were no cheers. There were no clapping. There were no oohs and ahs. It was very still theater. No
I
doubt about it. And
I
I'm
could
pretty sure
tell
he would back me up on that.
I could tell that people were enjoying it, but
Hmm.
it's interesting because again, Americans are the only people that do this in the theater. Americans are the only ones that react
Yeah.
in these joyful exuberations in the theater. People overseas, they don't. And I think America is becoming more like that in the fact that, um, we're
Well,
too,
because most movies suck.
most movies suck. Um, life is sucking for a lot of people,
Right.
for a lot of different reasons. And people are kind of getting their spirits beaten down, and here in America, so you're seeing less and less of that exuberance at all these things because we don't want to encroach on other people sometimes, and sometimes it's because we've been beaten down so much. So America is definitely changing in that aspect.
Yeah. So much so they'll elect communists and socialists in office.
Yeah,
But that's a topic for
yeah,
another
yeah.
day. So
So you're right.
it's
This
not
isn't
the
a comic.
comic,
No,
right?
it's not.
And
But
unfortunately,
Punisher
they
is
have
the Punisher for a
Yeah.
reason,
Yeah.
his archetype is an archetype, and the Netflix show did a good job in Daredevil season 2 and Punisher season 1. After that, they destroyed the Punisher. He was no longer the Punisher after that was the only instances which John Bernthal's Punisher was the Punisher. After that, they made him into a cuck. They took away all of his agency. They made his wife a badass and all this other stuff. They
Well,
did all kinds of things to the
I
Punisher.
think, honestly, like, kind of turning him into this, PTSD vet,
They made a point of it in Daredevil season 2. He was not a PTSD vet.
correct.
I mean, he railed against that bullshit and is like, these are bad guys. These are bad guys that killed my family. I'm going to kill them. And that's it. That's it. That's all he wanted to do. And they changed it over time because Marvel, because the people who work at Marvel, because Disney hates that. They hate the Punisher
I
in
also
every
had a,
aspect.
I mean, look, there a couple things. I will tell you this: the reasons why it got a 7 out of 10. I don't usually really give scores like that. The reason I felt that it was around a 7 out of 10 for me is because personally, for me, watching the film, I did not react much at all during the movie. I did feel like there were scenes that were flat for me that just did not get out of me. I think what it was asking, whether that is buying into the inhibitor, buying into him creating the inhibitor, to even, I think, at the end when he's in the hospital and Frank tells, you know, Peter, because he's got his mask off, okay, and he knows what he looks like now. So Frank Castle knows what Peter Parker looks like. Um, and MJ now as well, even though she doesn't remember them being together. So he tells him that, oh yeah, by the way, Jean was keeping you alive with her whatever mojo magic bullshit.
Yeah.
And I'm like, well, how does Frank know that? How does he know that Peter was being kept alive by Jean Grey and not by the machines he was on? I mean, did Jean get into his head and tell him? We don't see that. We don't know. Frank just says, "Yeah, she was keeping you alive with her magic voodoo or whatever he says." And I'm like, how do you even know that? He's been asleep the whole time. What do you
It's
mean?
it's exposition, and it's exposition
Of course,
that needs to be stated for the cell phone generation.
right. It
And
was just weird. It was like,
it's another one of those
okay.
bad writing moments that they have to say we have to state this because otherwise people are going to be
And
talking about it. It's like let us speculate.
now
It doesn't
Menjoza,
matter.
I will say this, and he says that's what I'm saying, kind of the and then way of writing. I think a lot of movies and a lot of shows, yes, you are correct. It is a very and then type of writing now, right?
Yeah.
It's just and then this happens, and then this happens, and then this person shows up, and then this happens. Does that happen in this movie? If it does, and it's possible if I go back and see it again, it's possible. It didn't feel
No,
that
it
way
doesn't. No, it doesn't
compared to
feel that
other
way.
movies
No,
I've
it doesn't.
watched. I will tell you, and maybe you feel the same way. One thing I will say is that I did feel like the scenes with Peter, Ned, and MJ were pretty good.
They
They
were
had the
great.
best dialogue out of the film. I thought that was the
I
best dialogue. I
I
thought it
thought
was
even with
the
John
better scenes.
Bernthal, MJ, and Peter
It
were
was all right.
good.
It was all right on the boat or not
Yeah.
on the boat, but yeah, whatever, down at the
Yeah.
docks, right?
Right. I thought that was good. I actually really enjoyed the fake out scene. Now I
Yes,
knew
but
it
you
I knew it
knew,
was a fake out
of
scene,
course.
but at the same time, I was I did enjoy the fake out scene because I thought that was really well done.
So Jean Grey and so look, she's like, "Hey, I'm gonna go get your girlfriend." Right? She finds the letter that Peter has. If you've seen the trailers, you know he's written a letter. He can't bring himself to give it to MJ to tell her, hey, I we once were together, but I had to I had to make a decision, and you don't remember me, blah blah blah. We know about this letter. I think it was in the last movie even.
Yeah, the
So
letter was in the last movie, and
right,
he didn't give it to him because he's like, they're happy, they're going to MIT, they
yes,
don't need
right.
me.
So there's a moment where Jean Grey zapping through bodies, right, using bodies, zipping through, and she's gonna go to get to MJ. So Peter races across town. He's able to somehow neutralize Jean Grey in a helicopter. She's 33 feet away from other people, which was really kind of weird. I'm like, how did she get out of this predicament? But anyway, he webs a helicopter up way up off the ground. So she's stuck. She's further than 33 feet away from another person, so she can't jump into another body. And he races across town to get MJ, and he gets to her apartment, and he says, trust me, I told you I would protect you. She's like, what are you talking about? Whatever. And he whisks her away to a rooftop. And on the rooftop,
She agreed too easily for
he
MJ, and that's
kisses
how I knew it
her.
was wrong.
Right. He kisses her, and then all of a sudden she's
She
like,
kisses him.
or she kisses whatever, and all of a sudden she's like, oh my god, it unlocked, blah blah blah, whatever. I remember, and it was Jean Grey the whole time, and then she decides to throw
She
MJ's
decides to
body.
murder MJ. She
Yeah,
decides to murder Michelle.
yeah,
She
throw
she
herself off
decides to
of the
murder
roof.
her.
And so
She
but
knew Spider-Man would catch her. No, no,
before
she
she
decided to
does
murder her.
so, right before she does so, she tells him, like, she laughs and she's like, oh, you're such a, whatever, little poor Spidey or poor Peter or whatever. And and of course, Peter's heartbroken because he thought that somehow he had unlocked her memory and she remembered. And it is a good scene. It is a fake out, but you're right. It's hard to buy it, and also it's also hard to buy the stakes because, like, he's not gonna let her fall to her death. We're not gonna have another Gwen Stacy moment here. They're not gonna let Zendaya, who's in three of the biggest films in 2027 or will be, uh, die in
Still
this
2026.
franchise. Or 2026, whatever. I kind of wish it was 2027 again already.
Uh,
But nonetheless, so yes, but I did think those scenes were acted well. I did think the scenes with Ned, them hanging out, I did
I
think it was a little too convenient after MJ finds the letter, and comes back to the docks while she's staying at Frank Castle's place, and she has this whole thing about, you can't decide for me, right? When did you write this letter? Blah blah blah. And then he has to swing her home, which is awkward. Pretty funny, because the
yeah
whole the whole scene of him whisking her away. Remember, his arachnid powers. He's trying to master shooting out organic webs, not web
yeah
shooters, organic webs out of his
yep.
wrists. And he's like
He
all happy.
he's got to talk. Well, no, he has to say
Yeah,
release web,
release web.
release web,
Yeah,
and then shoot
release
web, and then
shoot web,
release web,
release
and so
web.
he's talking through the whole thing
But
because
he's
that's the only way he can use his organic web shooters that he knows how at the
right.
time.
But you can tell he's got MJ, and he's
Yep.
he's getting across town to protect her and everything, and you feel that urgency. And then after this whole thing where he goes and kind of fights and does all this stuff, and then he comes back to get her, okay, because he is able to actually take her and protect her by taking her to Frank Castle to at the docks, so she stays there, unbeknownst to everybody else. And when he comes back to get her, she's read the letter, and of course she doesn't want to talk to him, and he has to take her home. And you
Yeah.
do feel the sense of, like, his heartbreak and
Yep.
dread, and she was like, I'm gonna go home now, and then she comes back in the door and goes, well, actually, nobody knows I'm here and I don't have my phone, or what, can you take me home? And he has to
Yep.
swing her all the way back across town. And in that scene where you see him, the same close-up scene where she's hanging on to him and he's doing this, right? He's doing the thing with one hand or whatever. You can feel the disappointment, right? You can feel that he's like, okay, it's over, right? It's
Yeah.
going to be over forever. But then miraculously she gets over it really fast and invites him
No,
in to
so
hang out with her
look
and Ned.
now.
It shit was
Now
weird.
it
It
wasn't weird. It
was weird.
wasn't. No, it wasn't weird.
Why
It
not?
no. Listen, if you pay attention to the Zennials, Gen Z, or whatever, and how they interact with one another, right? And Michelle's character through this whole all these movies that she's been in, she doesn't know how to deal with the situation. She's not breaking it off with him. If you listen to her dialogue and you watch the emotions that are conveyed in those scenes with him when he takes the mask off and they have this conversation,
Right.
she's like, I feel violated. I don't know how to take this. What do I do? She doesn't know how to deal with it. So she kind of says, I got to set this boundary. But now she's stuck. And now we have to swing back. And in the process of swinging back, you see this thing happen to her. She actually changes in the swing back. And you can see it on her face as she's like, he's a good man. He's a hero. She's processing all this stuff. I
Right.
I knew him. I had feelings for him. All of these things she's processing along the way. And at the end of this adrenaline-filled swing fest, right? Not that kind of swing. Um, as
With
they get
Ned.
there, and then she's thinking he was best friends with with Ned, and Ned has this obsession with him with finding Spider-Man with the spider tracker. We He should come up and say hi. How am I going to explain anything else that happened this week? Right? So you could see all this processing. And I thought that, like I said, this is the best acting I've ever seen Zendaya do. As she stops and she turns, she pauses, she says something. So he turns around and invites him up to the apartment to hang out with Ned and her and just see what happens. And in the process of this, he's wearing the costume the whole time, but she sees that these two guys have been connected their whole lives. They've just forgotten, or Ned's forgotten it. Peter hasn't, but
Oh
they
yeah, that
interact
scene for sure. Yeah, you
so
can tell.
well with one another that she again changes her perspective on all this stuff. And this is done with pretty good acting and a pretty well written scene between the three of them. And then she's like, okay, well then there's this thing, right? And then that goes back to the very end of the movie when Peter goes back to his regular routine and walks into the store to buy the flowers and whatever else, and he sees Ned over there, and he goes, oh, okay, this was another humiliation moment for Peter Parker, right? So he goes over there with the flowers, and so Ned's thinking, oh, this guy, he's gonna try and come on to me because he's got these flowers in his hand.
Yeah,
And then he does their handshake
the
and
secret handshake
the
thing or
secret
whatever. Yeah.
handshake and the motor skills and the emotional content with that handshake opens everything up. And this goes back to No Way Home, because remember that Ned has magic in him, right? So he is a magical being in this
Oh
universe, and
shit.
we have established
Oh.
this because Ned Leeds, the Hobgoblin, also has these affinity with the dark arts or the magical powers of Doctor Strange, right? So you could see where the spell would be broken at that moment because he has magic in him, and you did a psychomotor skill connection that unlocked that memory. It unlocked what was blocked by the magic, and all of a sudden, Peter Parker. And all of a sudden, we are completely reset. And unfortunately, we're not going to get Black Cat or any of this other nonsense because everything has
That's
been reset at the end of the movie, which is a
yes.
problem. But I did like how they did that scene with Ned at the end. I thought that was a
Oh no, I
brilliant
I
way
didn't mind
to
that. Yeah,
to break the
absolutely.
spell.
No, I like that scene. I thought it was very
Yeah,
cool.
yeah.
But I like I said earlier, I just thought it was just a little too quick for me, right? Like it literally happens right after coming across town and after this emotional moment they have about this letter. And I just thought that could have taken a little bit more time, right? Within the same movie's fine, just a little bit more time than you know, you violated me, and then literally swing home and turn around and go, well, do you want to come in and meet Ned? Or talk to, you know what
Yeah.
I mean? Like, I just wish that had been given a little more room to breathe. I feel like there were moments in this movie like that that we needed a little bit more time, even though it's a 2 hour and 25-minute movie. And that's why I felt like some of the characters could have been cut out, that we would have gotten more. Okay, cut out the detective, cut out Yelena. Like, give me
I
a
still
little bit more.
I think the scene was paced well and acted well. I thought everything that was there that needed to be there. I
Oh, it was
do
fine.
think I do think that it was about probably 25-30 minutes too long, and there
Yeah.
were things to take out of it. I really hate the supervillain Jean Grey being a part of this, but not being the true villain. I like the Bill Metzger villain aspect. I wish they had focused more on that. I wish that it was Venom.
Yeah,
I
man.
wish
Holy
that it was
crap.
Venom. That would have been a way better movie. Not Tom Hardy, but Venom,
Right, right.
right?
Yes. And
But
maybe they did.
and that's why I give it an 8 out of 10. That's why I was really pretty happy with the movie, and the I thought the performances were the best that we've seen out of some of these people. I thought the performances were in general really good. Sadie Sink was the best Jean Grey that we have
She's
seen
fine. Yeah, she's fine.
since Famke Jensen.
I didn't,
Famke Jensen did a great Jean Grey. What's her name? Sophie Turner doesn't know how to act at all, so she
oh,
was
no, no, no.
terrible as Green
But
Jean
my
Grey.
thing is this with Jean is that I hate the fact that this is how she's introduced, and we
It's
don't
a soft X-Men
and we don't
launch, and it
even
sucks.
we maybe we'll see her again. I mean,
I no, we will. This movie made too much money. We will
but
see her again.
no, I get it, but my point is that, like, with that character being having been played by different multiple people, and now you have your multiverse stuff, right, come into play. So there's no telling, right? Like, we honestly we don't really know, and we don't know when or have any plan.
No, they're not that creative. They're going to continue to use to her until
Oh,
they can't.
now this look, I'm going to tell you right now, Menjoza, Ned is the Hobgoblin. That Brownie's he gonna have to start working
Look,
out.
now,
Come on, man.
I
Come on,
that's my
man.
biggest fear is that they are going to make him Hobgoblin,
Like,
and
come on, man.
I can see him being so pissed off about being magically manipulated and losing his best friend,
Sure.
forgetting all those
Get it.
years that they had together, and then reconnecting with him, and then
Get it.
the spell is broken. I could see how that could break his mind and
Hmm.
him becoming Hobgoblin, but I don't want to see him as Hobgoblin. I just
I
don't.
don't either. I don't either. And how that what that looks like, how does that work? I don't know. Can you sell that? Like, I don't know, man. That's a
I don't
tough
know.
sell. Eric says Sadie Sink did good. I'd like to see her in more things. She was fine. She was fine. I don't like the character. She was fine, but I didn't care for the character much. It's just I wish we had either gotten her introduced somewhere else, or at the very least we had gotten a little more information about her. The scene with her and her sister in the park, and it's they have to do that because obviously that's the only thing we know about her sister. We see her actually get taken, and this is the why she's doing what she's doing. But again, like you said, and I agree, we have a villain who is just misunderstood, who can walk away at the end, like Wanda. Oh, they just don't understand what you sacrificed, Wanda. You kept this town under your control for however long,
Yeah,
and
she
and
tortured
they,
and
yeah, I
yeah,
mean,
she
come
tortured
on,
and
man.
murdered people, and she completely, Wanda in Doctor Strange Two Moms,
Oh my
destroyed
gosh.
entire universes.
Yeah, it's unbelievable.
Yeah,
Punk
no,
says
I
I
mean,
said I
yeah,
said to
this
my
is
ex
good.
he has to take her. I said to my ex when he has to take her home. That's why you never break up with someone on a date when you drove together. Yeah, right. It's the swing home. It was palpable. You could feel the tension. It's a silent scene. There are no words. And it's just and I'm guessing I can't remember if he's. I don't even think he's saying shoot web, release web at that point.
No, no, because at this point he
And
has
his arm,
accepted.
he's doing it very rough. You can see
Yep.
he's really pissed about it.
Well,
All right, he's doing it very roughly, like his arm, and you can tell he's just like
he's
doing
got to
it, and then
react
he's like,
fast doing it with one arm instead of two.
well, no, but on the way out,
Yeah, yeah,
he was doing
yeah.
it. But my point is, you could see the frustration of what just happened and how unhappy he is in the moment by the way he's doing his
But
arm
he
and
also
the
has more
motion of it.
control of his abilities
Correct,
now
correct.
because he has accepted them.
mhm. But it was interesting. Again, I would have liked to have seen something other than black eyes and losing anger control for your arachnid DNA taking over. I would have liked, at the very least, maybe some kind of dream sequence with six arms or, something of that
I
nature
thought
that would
I
have been
was
neat.
I was really hoping that they might jump into that six arm territory with this film because they talked about the mutation in the
Yeah.
trailers.
Yep.
So I was like, oh, are they going to do six arm Spider Man? And to not have that in there, that could have been the whole movie is six arm Spider
From
Man.
my understanding, they did not think kids could handle that visual. And that
I kind of
it's a
understand it,
little
but at
too
the same
scary.
time, maybe.
I don't think
Um,
so.
I
I give kids a lot more credit.
me too, because I look back at, seeing aliens, as a kid, watching Alien
Freddy
as a
Krueger,
kid.
when his arms
Freddy,
stretch out
yeah,
and reach out across the alley and he's scraping down the alley and they're all,
hell,
just whatever,
Star
you
Trek
name it.
2, the little earworm things. I mean, come on.
Oh,
Well,
God. So, that was
you know,
very
the
memorable as a
yeah,
kid, for
right.
sure.
The
100%.
never-ending story, the horse in
Yeah.
drowning in the
Yeah.
quicksand, right? I
Hmm.
mean, we went through some traumatic shit as
Yeah.
kids. Kids are tougher than you think they are.
Yeah, and in Menjoza, yeah, I mean that's why I say like a dream sequence,
Something,
nightmares, because
something.
unfortunately we really didn't get anything expanded on other than his eyes go black, he loses his anger, he loses control, and right, he damages a cop car, a cop's hurt, whatever, and then really after that, it's like he creates this suppressor. I will say this: the fight with the hand is pretty cool. There's some great
Yep,
imagery in there.
yep.
I
The
like
fight with
that.
the Hulk was good too.
It was, but honestly, I get why the Hulk was in the movie because Jean is using him to break in to
Well,
get
but
her
we also
sister
had the
out.
inhibitor
But the
conversation.
inhibitor conversation, but yeah, it was just kind of like, okay, you're right, I get it. The Hulk's here, and yeah, it was not bad, not a bad
Yeah.
fight. It's pretty cool. But the scene where he's pulling Frank and Frank shooting a machine gun as he's on his back being pulled across, and he's like, "Doot, doot, 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 doot,
Yeah.
doot," that was pretty funny.
It's pretty funny. It's pretty cool. I enjoyed that whole fight scene. And the best thing that came out of that whole bit, we get Savage Hulk back. We get the Hulk back. The Hulk has
Yeah,
returned,
yeah.
no more smart Hulk, no more dumbass Mark Ruffalo spewing bullshit down everybody's throat.
Yep. It's so look, yeah. I mean there are positives. Obviously, a lot of people really like the movie. I can't argue with them at all. I'm not gonna, I totally understand. There was just a few things for me that kept me from really buying in all the way, and I just felt like after the prior film, I thought, how are you, man? That's really difficult to top. I mean that was really, and honestly, I don't know about you, man, but I just didn't feel the stakes in this movie. I didn't feel the stakes as far as the true danger, so to speak. I didn't feel that Jean Grey was a great villain for this movie. We didn't get enough with damage control. There's not enough with them to really understand them as an organization. If this is in fact setting them up for the MCUs, then maybe they'll expound or expand on that organization. But they're just there. We kind of know what they do, but I just didn't
Well,
feel that
I
there
mean,
was as much on the line for this from a stakes perspective, and
oof.
so I just never was able to buy in and say that Uh, can I understand what kind of power Jean Grey has? Yeah, I can. I just unfortunately didn't feel like the villain was she was set up very well, introduced very well,
Well, and
and
that's why I think it's for people like you and a lot of people, it's missing the context of who Bill is. Um,
no,
and
I understand that. Like I told you, I went
well,
back and kind of looked
and
up,
you could
and
say you understand all this stuff, but you're missing a lot of context here because there's a lot of stuff that's happening in this film that is universally moving forward. There's a lot of stakes in all of this stuff because now we have the inhibitor and we can suppress
but let me
these
ask you.
specials abilities there were stakes through this whole thing in terms of his relationship. These are all Spider-Man comic book tropes of his balancing his work-life relationships. You know,
Sure.
his people he loves and cares about, and the job he has to do, and separating and isolating those things. I mean, this was probably one of the most Spider-Man movies that's come out in a long time. Definitely the most Spider-Man movie of any of the Tom Holland movies. And like
Here's
I said,
my thing. With the damage control with Metzger because they never found his body, which I found
of course not.
ridiculously stupid.
Whatever. Of course not.
Okay, so how many people do you think? Number one, I have at least a bit of a cursory knowledge from whether it's comics or whatever, right? Different characters. Uh, how many people out there have no knowledge of anything?
Oh,
What do you
sure.
think is going through their head? That's like,
You
what
know what's
is
going
this
through their
setting
head?
up? Is the
No, no,
next
no, no,
Spider-Man
no, no,
movie going to
no,
be
no, no,
Bill
no, no,
Metzger? Is it
no,
going to
no, no,
be X-Men? Is it going to be Spider-Man? Because again, you have to
no, no,
remember
no.
they're not
That's not going
incorporating.
through their heads at all. You know what's going through their heads? This was the best Spider-Man movie ever.
No,
This is the latest, greatest Spider-Man movie. It's the one I love the most because it's the most recent one that just
totally.
came out.
Yeah,
That's what's going through their heads.
totally get it. The reason why I didn't feel there were stakes is because what do you do with this? You're not incorporating it into the MCU. You're not incorporating this storyline into the MCU. You're
No, that's
so
not true because the damage group is going to be there. Bill Metzger is going to be there. As you incorporate the X-Men, he has to be there.
so you're what are you
So
talking about 8 years when they finally come out with a movie that's not battle world or secret like you see what I'm saying like we're talking 8 9 years. You think people are going to
no,
remember 8 or 9
less than
years from
that
now?
because when's the X-Men movie coming out?
It,
It's on the slate.
who knows?
No, it's on the slate, and we're talking about a
That
couple of
means
years from now.
nothing.
Oh, yeah, okay, you're right.
That means
You, you
nothing.
you're right, but it's on the slate in the next couple years. So there's potential for this to come up in every movie up until the X-Men movie comes out because
It's possible.
this damage control unit thing has been around since No Way Home.
Oh sure, but
I'm sorry, not even No Way Home.
no,
Sorry.
it's not.
It's been
It's
around since Homecoming. It was created in Homecoming,
right,
and it was an organization that Tony Stark founded
right.
because he took all that away, and that's what created Tooms and Vulture and all that stuff, right? So you have all these guys that were created because Control was created, and now Damage Control is run amok because it's being run by Bill Metzger, and there's
But that's
actually
that's
quite
what
a
I mean.
bit that you
I'm
can do with this in the lead up stories to what's coming in Secret Wars and post Secret Wars.
and we'll see if they use that right. I mean,
It's there. It's easy enough to do.
I'm not saying it's not. I just mean I don't know what they really do with it moving forward, particularly in a standalone, you know, Sony Spider-Man movie, and how much where do they want to go with that, right? But it's a lot of stuff that a lot of people are not going to piece together, right? I mean, they're just not going to put that stuff
Well, yeah,
together.
of
They have
course not.
no clue.
Of course
Uh,
not. And they're not supposed to, right? I mean, the
didn't
normies
let's see.
make the world go round, and the normies just want to go see a good movie in the movie theater. This is a good movie. Go see it in the movie theater, right? And there'll be some more coming up. And these Spider-Man movies, As long as they partner with Sony and Disney and Sony are competing against one another, then they're going to make good movies because they both want to make profit at the box office and they know what will make profit.
Well, sometimes.
They know what will make profit, and some people are speculating they don't care if Doomsday makes profit or not because they need to get people back on board with the MCU. And
Man,
if
yeah, I don't know if it's gonna do it or not, man.
it'll be profitable, but
When
it's
they
not going
kill
to be.
Toby Maguire in the first 5 minutes, there's gonna be a lot of people not on board with that.
But they're going to
Uh,
bring him back by the end.
all right, two movie or two later, you
No,
know.
no, no. At the end of the movie that they kill him off with, he's going to be there because they're going to bring back a lot of those people that were killed off at the beginning because they want to perpetuate these other universes, either directly or indirectly. They're no, they're bringing Toby back at the
We'll
end of the
see.
movie.
I, I, I,
It's in the script. It's in the script that they've already talked about. So the same script that they talked about
it wasn't
the
the
leaks that is.
spoilers that I didn't. It wasn't the spoilers that we read that I read. It wasn't in that. It wasn't in that whole
And here's the
movie
one that
from
Gary
top
talked
to
about.
bottom.
Gary talked about he's dead, but they bring him back at the end. He said that like 3 or 4 times.
Well, I'll go back and read it, but
You
I'm
can
pretty
read
sure
it
it's
all
the
you want.
same one.
That's what Gary said that he
Okay,
got
well,
word of.
I'm not saying that Gary doesn't know his stuff, but I also know that he's not 100% on every
No,
single
no, no.
thing.
He's
Like,
not, and
so
and 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 his sources don't no longer work there, so that can
right.
change. But as it
Um,
stood right now, the script that they had right now, he dies at the beginning and they bring him back at the end
well,
because
knowing
and that
how they write their scripts, that's subject to
oh,
change
well yeah,
literally
but
next
but
month.
that's what he said was the big rub is that people are going to be so pissed off that he gets killed right at the beginning of this movie, but if they walk out they'll miss the fact that he comes back at the end.
Well, Eric wants to know what the end credit scene is. It just shows
The
a
end credit scene
spider.
is worthless. Don't stay for it.
It shows a spider tracker app that Ned created, and it shows Spider Man's location in outer space. That is
That's it.
basically a pickup
That's
on who knows. It could be another Spider Man in a multiverse somewhere. It could be Miles Morales in the Spider Verse somewhere. Who knows?
yeah.
Right?
We don't know the full context of it, but
Yeah.
at the same time, it is Spider-Man in space.
Yeah, pretty much.
So yeah.
But that's it. That's the only stinger. Let's see.
Yeah,
Indeed. Oh
there's no
yeah.
mid-credit or
Uh,
anything else. That was it. It's not worth staying for.
Yeah, and Menjoza, there is no blade. There will be no blade. They couldn't figure it out. They could not agree on where to put their intersectional feminism into the movie, and so Ali is out. He's gone,
I
and
told you
he's
guys
over
this a
it.
year ago that he said he was out, and everybody's like, no, 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 they're still talking. He's like, bullshit. He's out.
No, he was. Yeah, he was
He
done a
was out
long
a long
time
time
ago.
ago, and
Yeah,
it's just now that they're getting around to talk about it because you got to know that you can't string an actor along for that long and not do bullshit with it. And then he's going to get frustrated because you're not moving forward with anything, or you're not giving him anything of quality that he wants to even think about.
yeah. No, it by all accounts they just couldn't figure out how to crack that nut, so to speak. Which I don't know how. It's a
It's
guy
pretty
going
easy.
around killing vampires.
Vampire hunter fights vampires.
Yeah,
It's
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 really
it's it's,
difficult.
it's not hard. And then
um,
you have Tom Hardy saying, how terrible this guy is.
oh yeah. Well, whatever. I'm Yeah, whatever. All right, last thing I'm going to show, and then we got to jump off of here because I actually have to take my son to a. I got to take my son to a lunch tomorrow to meet someone to talk about possible career, and
Hey,
so
good. I'm glad he's talking. He's
there's our
thinking.
favorite gal right there.
There she
Uh,
is. What's that? Bouncy bounce?
Oh Lord, Double O Thornton. Yeah, gotta love it. Anyway, All right, so that's it for us this week. That's a deep dive. It's about all you're gonna get. Of course, as it comes up later on next week, if anybody brings anything up, let's talk about it. Of course, we can always go back and discuss whatever. But yeah, man. You liked it more than I did. I still think it was fun. I think it's worth going to see. But even my son really did not like it as much as I thought he would, and he
Yeah.
absolutely loved the last one and the second one. He tried to go back and watch Homecoming and really didn't like it. Actually, he bailed out on Homecoming, and so
I still think is a good one, and I like Homecoming. I like No Way Home. Far From Home, I still kind of like, but ultimately, if I'm going to go Spider-Man, I'm going to go Tobey Maguire. I like
oh
some aspects of
sure.
Andrew Garfield, but Spider-Man 2 is still one of the greatest superhero movies ever made.
Yeah, it's fantastic, dude. No doubt about it. So you always can go back and watch that one, and yeah, go watch this one if you hadn't seen it. Go to the theater and see it. Even if you sat here and listened to us go through the whole movie, you can still go see it, and you may
Yeah.
have a different opinion. You may come out of that with a different thought process. You may come out of
Yeah,
it
yeah.
thinking, hey, Pop doesn't know what the hell he's talking about, or Matthew does. It's like so. You may have a totally different take on it, but look, it's
That's the
worth
fun of
going to
all
see.
this.
It's
It's the fun of all this.
rare. It's rare we've had much out to get excited or go see that's been a fun movie, and so this is one of the few ones, that's for sure.
Yeah.
So yeah, go check it out. And let's see. I did not turn into the Hulk after watching the movie. I wish I had those Hulk hands though.
Eh,
Those would be fun now. I could punch my son with them. I'm just afraid when he punches back,
right.
especially now. Okay, that's it for us this week. I heard that. Um, anyway, all right, we'll see you guys next Tuesday. And then I don't know what Three Stars doing tomorrow night, just to let you know. I will not be on with him tomorrow night, actually, on Seven's Wild, but he may very well do a stream himself. Barring my schedule, it's possible something last minute can get thrown together, but I'll have to see about that. But anyway, you guys take care. We'll see y'all next week. And peace out.